Hey
What it do?
everybody,
What it
how's
do?
it
What it
going?
motherfucking do?
Hello, Internet. How is it going, Twitch? How's it going, all our good followers? Welcome to Neon Lights and Night City, the I almost never get this wrong. The actual play stream of Neon no, Cyberpunk Red.
That's
That's
what
the
we're
one.
doing. That's what we're
Cyberpunk
playing.
Red. Run on
Almost
our
not.
channel. It's the oh, yep, that's the one it is. It's that one. And it's the only one that I definitely didn't flub the intro on. Yep, the only one on this channel that I didn't flub the intro on.
At least you didn't flub the
It's
only
a J.
show on this channel joke.
I have
You
never
haven't
missed
flubbed one
this
of those
move
yet.
in my
Yeah.
life.
Flub is maybe the word I would use for that one. But anyways, my name is Tate Washburn. I am the GM here, the game maestro, because I'm liking how Foxxie's using that. And I'd like my players to also introduce themselves real quick.
What it do, people of the internet? It's your boy Young Foxy, aka Big Foxy, also known as your favorite Fox. And today, I will be playing Fox, the Fixer, future mayor of South Night City, unless someone tries to get their way. But people who get in my way usually end up with bullet holes, so we'll keep it moving.
And usually they don't get back up afterwards. You know, like there's that one time. But
Exactly.
Don't
That
vote
one,
for
there was
you.
that one guy who walked away from
Yeah.
it, but I like him. He's okay.
sorry, Dan, we interrupted you.
Oh no, I was like, is that a message to the people who were not going to vote for you?
No. My official
Not an
statement is
official
no.
commercial.
Anyway, Michelle, go.
I understand why you have to say that for legal reasons.
All right, I'm Michelle. I'll be playing Lynx, our incredibly tired mom friend, net runner, who has to wrangle one fox who has plans, and she has concerns, but she also doesn't know he has plans. But she's probably gonna want to punch him in the face afterwards. And yes,
Hey, you face punch? That's
you
fucked
heard
up.
me.
That's
You
fucked
heard
up,
me.
personally.
and Huck, who is kindly helping her out with this very intriguing and also worrisome report on robots and, well, injuries and other fun things.
And hi, I guess I'm next. I'm Dan. I play Dr. Huckabee, the med tech who pretty much always wants to punch Fox in the face, but that's not really important.
Listen, I just want y'all to
And
take a brief second, if y'all have a time. Just look down in your pockets. Look at the heaps of Eurobucks that are currently in your pockets. I want y'all to think about who's responsible for those things when you think about punching people in the fucking face. You assholes.
I mean, I make good money as a doctor.
Yeah,
Just
well, you
saying.
make better money helping me.
That's,
Yes,
that's
when-
fair.
Yeah. Although I don't have to feel morally conflicted about holding our friends at gunpoint. Although I guess I technically don't know about that. So
Listen, that's your moral convictions are your choice, and that's not my problem, I have to say.
Mhm.
Lynx has too many dumb sons to worry about.
Hey, one of your dumb sons has a medical degree. Thank you very much.
Does that still? But you admit you're still a dumb son.
You did do it.
Look, I, out of character, am living proof that being educated does not make you smart.
Okay, Tate, I
So
see
yes.
you. I see you.
Huh?
I see
What's
you,
up?
boo. I see you. I see what you're
You're
doing.
Wally?
I see what you got going on over here.
What?
Fucking their serious game sounds.
Oh,
Yeah, just turn those on.
Y'all ain't even
It's
peeped. Y'all wasn't even hip. I was over here hip. I was already ready. Y'all wasn't even ready.
Well, maybe my theater of the mind is just so powerful that I can do it without the music.
Maybe you just suck. How
Shout
about
out to
that?
Sirenscape, by the way. It's real good.
Hashtag
It is
non-sponsored
what we
content.
use for the lovely soundtrack that you are probably hearing, and also the reason that all of our YouTube uploads have copyright strikes.
Not all of them. Which we're working on fixing.
All of the ones from the past like 2 weeks.
And we're working on fixing that, but we're not making any money
We
off
are
of them
working
anyway,
on
so it's
fixing
okay.
that, and you
Anyway,
can still watch them.
Tate.
The videos are still up.
Take it away.
Link perhaps.
Yep. Anyways, last time, y'all were doing some research basically on the events in Night City. There are robots that are basically everywhere that every corporation thinks everyone else knows where to get, but everyone's actually just gotten them off the backs of trucks. There have been accidents at major corporations every time they start doing a little too well, it seems like. Fox is trying to get his stuff handled. I don't know, his whole political career. And he has plans that he hasn't shared with us yet, but and then Lynx has also found out that the robots, they're fake. They have like a physical way of being hacked by whoever made them instantaneously, and that they're housed by an AI that is really more like the fraction of a moment of fear or desperation. So that's probably not safe and healthy for the AI that they shaved that off of.
Not safe and healthy for the people if that part gets activated either.
This is true. This is true.
I'm just saying, guys. I think it's a mom's robots plan. I'm just saying. I think we're dealing with a mom's robot situation.
You watch too many old cartoons, Volpo.
When I'm right, I want you to remember you said that.
I mean, I don't even remember this, but to be fair, I
Regardless
didn't
of
watch
whether or
it.
not you're right, I'm pretty sure I'm still right that you watch too many old cartoons.
We can both be right.
What is this iron-blooded orphans thing you keep talking
Why are
about?
you outing me? Is the question that I'm asking everybody. Also, it's a really good anime. You should be watching it.
And this is 20 some odd years in the future from now, so streaming services probably are trying to.
So they've released the HD remaster of Iron Blooded Orphans by now, and you should be watching it.
I was gonna say there probably isn't as much like ads and stuff in the way of it, since it's so old that there's probably not a lot of copyright on it anymore.
At this point, they probably have brain dances where you're actually in it.
Oh god, that sounds really cool though.
Oh my god, it's like the
also sounds
holodeck.
physically
It's a fucking
terrifying.
holodeck.
Yeah, that's kind of a technology that they don't have for real, the holodeck. Instead, the brain dance is more like you are fully convinced that your thoughts, actions, and sensations that the person experienced are yours. You don't get to make new choices. You experience their choices,
Listen to me,
like,
Tate.
deeply.
I'll take that step one further, and I'm just gonna remind you that there are conversion rules in Mechton Zeta that allow you to put Mechton's in
This is a
Cyberpunk.
different game.
I'm not saying you have to give Fox a Gundam, but I am saying that if before the finale, Fox has a Gundam, I might be really happy about it. I'm just putting that in the universe.
Gundam Build Fighters Gundam.
I'm gonna say, as the representative of the universe, there's definitely not any you've ever seen in Night City, but you have heard that some people have built them in other places, so it might be a import thing you could look into as a fixer.
I'll handle that once I become
Maybe.
mayor. It'll be my first order.
The mayor deserves a mayoral mech.
Give me my goddamn Gundam. Give me my mayoral Gundam, all right?
He's got like the seal of Night City on his
Just like
chest.
on his chest.
Anyways, I did want to do one more thing, Doc, because we were sort of in the middle of your week of downtime when you discovered this thing with these accidents. So I did actually I would like you to roll me a hustle check. You spent your week actually doing like research, but it's important for me as a person.
Is
It's
that
2d6,
1d6?
and I need to find that table. It's 2d6.
I thought it was just one.
It might just be one, but roll me
I don't
2d6
want
for
to.
reasons.
For reason.
Yeah, if I can just
That's
find
fine.
this chart that I seem to have misplaced.
Stand by.
Did I not, did I
Everyday
not have this
life.
bookmark?
It's actually it's in the section right after night markets. Is the section for like living
Making
life
a
or
living.
whatever.
Yeah, it's in the New Street Economy.
You got a page number?
Page 381 or
Look at us working
383.
as a team.
Right. Anyways, so you got a 5 and a 1. So for the medtech hustle,
Says patch someone up after a firefight and did a major medical.
and you're at
procedure.
rank 6, if I remember right.
I'm
Right?
rank 6.
Yeah. So you get 500 eddies, not really for the stated reasons, but Elijah has a bunch of robot parts that he saved from the gunfight that happened that you basically just kind of sell or repurpose. And that's kind of the well-heeled client part. But you do at some point, while you're working, and you've done this research, and Doc has talked to you, right at the end of the week, which is where we're going to pick up in a second with everyone else. At the end of the week, you get a visit from someone that you've worked on and met and are kind of friends with. It's one of the Golden Agers.
Oh, boy.
It is Carla, the one who is
Magneto,
playing
right?
Magneto. Yep. Hey.
She's so fucking
I
cool.
like her.
She's so fucking
She's
cool,
pretty
dude.
chill.
So Carla actually has what looks like a beam of wood shoved through her shoulder when she comes in. Like not massive, but it's still like the kind of thing you'd use to build furniture. It's like all the way through her shoulder as she comes in, and it just does not look well rested. She looks a little yeah, she
What
looks sorry.
in the hell happened to you?
Like it's a long story, Doc. Glad to see you're back. But maybe first procedure? This isn't pleasant.
I agree. Here, come on.
So yeah, you start working on her, and it's not going to require a check because this is honestly like a pretty easy removal because you can just use like surgeon tools to cut the wood up, like off the sides of it and poke it out, and now it's just a regular old hole in her shoulder. It's fine. But as you talk to her,
you're
she's
building furniture in the future, huh?
like, yeah, it's unfortunately the only thing that wasn't metal that got thrown at me yesterday.
Have you considered not getting into quite as many fights?
Well, that's gonna be harder. Doc, you haven't seen Hugo, have you? Hugo's the one who plays Joker in their little group.
Not recently, no.
He's been picking fights, it seems like. At least we think. We haven't seen him in like a week. He messages us back, kind of, like not really a lot. But he's out, and this is like the second time, pointing to the hole in her shoulder. This is the second time someone has rolled up and said, "Hey, your boy has been messing with us," and it's been difficult. It's not like on a good day that all of us are pretty good at avoiding a fight when it comes looking for us. And with Hugo gone, James isn't doing so well either. James is the one who plays Bane. He definitely seems ready to throw down like all the time now.
That is worrying. Especially if you're gonna have people rolling around here looking for you.
We've moved our base a little farther away just for you guys. We know that you guys have some heat on you, and we don't want it spilling over. I just needed a little more of a doctor than we can handle on our own.
Happy to help as long as you've got the eddies.
Yeah, and so yeah, she definitely pays. In fact, she pays more than generously, which is again part of this double roll that you got. Yeah, like a whole like section, like metallic section of her collarbone was missing, so she couldn't move her whole arm. Is probably why she needed help moving this out. But once you sort of fit that in, and you kind of have to do some delicate work, sort of repairing a pretty central structural part of her whole like. I guess it's still metal. It's just a non-ferrous metal structure that she has going on. It's like, well, thanks, Doc. If you see Hugo, we're a little worried about him. I mean, he picked to play, the Joker. He's not exactly the most stable person to start with, but this is weird even for him.
I'll let him know if I see him, and I'll tell the others to keep their eyes out.
Thanks. And so yeah, she thanks you and heads out, and that happens basically on a Sunday, like early in the day, and you guys have had this week of research. And so what I wanted to do is just sort of generally ask what your next steps are, and we can start ordering them from there.
All right. So, at the end of last session, I found out, or me and Lynx, right, found out that based on the data for injury reports related to the robot attacks, they correlated with any businesses that started doing too well suddenly saw an increase in robot attacks where they were using these robots, and that drove their performance all the way back down.
Yeah, although I should be clear, it's extremely subtle. It's like not shove their performance back down. It's just slow them down enough that other corporations catch up, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You really think that if you didn't have a big picture like this, if you had just one company's data, you would barely notice it. because sometimes when a company's doing well, if all the other companies are doing well, they don't get remotely as many accidents. It's only when they sort of break away.
So, the first thing I would think of is, who do I need to tell about this? And the first names that come to mind are good old Manny Young, who
Manny
may
has
have
Spider
been shoved into his ribs by a certain gentleman.
Why do we have to keep bringing that up? Is what I'm wondering.
Look,
He was so nice to us, and
my
you did that.
adorable,
Listen,
nice other adopted child, and you were mean to your little brother.
Okay, what I'm saying is, would y'all rather me have been mean, a little mean to him, or like somebody worse?
I mean, you could have offered to been nice to him in case someone else was mean to him.
I'd argue I was kind of nice to him overall. I didn't shoot him, you know.
I mean,
Anyway.
for Kit, that's kind of that was kind of nice for Kit.
Exactly. Could have shot
It was
him.
polite, probably. Nice is arguable, but polite, sure.
Yeah.
See, Mom understands.
And then Oryx will probably need to know at some point.
Oryx probably will have more data to mine through too, and can do it faster.
And then as it is part of the deal, I am probably going to need to tell my aunt. Much as I don't like helping her,
I wouldn't tell her
it'll
shit
probably be
personally.
good for improving my situation. Or my parents' situation, the case may be.
Okay. Lynx, what are your plans moving forward so we can sort of order when they happen?
So Lynx has not gotten any of the data on the healthcare thing from Huck, right? That was Huck and Dion.
That would have happened Saturday night. If you want to play out that scene, we definitely can do that. But otherwise, I think that Doc can sort of send that to you and be like, hey, this is what they're using the robots for. Okay,
so I think Lynx has a couple of things she wants to do. And it's going to be mostly focused on and around this robot thing, right? She's already gone and worked with Kit's contacts to see if she can find, or at least triangulate where the factory in Neon Light, or in the city is, South Night City. So that's one thing that she wants to do. She also wants to figure out where the fuck, like, so, like, how does the, like, because it's kind of brilliant, but, like, how did it actually work, right? Like, clearly all of the companies believe, right, somehow that, you know, the robots came from some reputable place, and, like, that happened. But, like, how did that actually happen? Because there has to be some kind of, like, shell company or whatever, right, that exists that they can point to, or at least somebody maybe originally pointed to is like, oh yeah, and, like, it's from this shell company, right? And from then on, despite everything coming from the street, right, like, they all believe it's clearly from this place. So, like, there has to be some kind of, I guess, origin point to the rumor, right? Like, they, like, clearly, or at least every rumor has a grain of truth to it, so there should be some kind of shell company that's doing the distribution, at least, you know, to get the supplies.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay. No. Also a question. Fox asked you to set up a meeting between him and the Red Queen, or Red. Lynx gonna do that? Just.
I think Lynx is gonna do that, but that's kind of like at the very, like, that's like the last thing on her head, because she's like that. This is either gonna go really well, or it's going to explode very badly. So, like, she'll ask Red if she's like, I think what she's going to do is, like, okay, is sort of like tentatively reach out to Red and ask her if she has free time for a meeting. And, like, ask her, like, hey, is there a time? And then, like, so she's gonna, like, schedule a meeting, but hopefully not anytime soon, because she knows that there's a lot of things going on, right? Like, better to have
yeah, if you ask for a meeting, Red's response, like, I'm assuming this is over messaging or something?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Her message back would be something to the effect of, that would be acceptable. What did you need to have a meeting about?
I think Lynx is at this point. Lynx is gonna be like, wait, because she can't lie for shit, and she also kind of respects Red, a bit, at least. So she's like,
Mhm.
so she's not gonna beat around the bush and be like, I don't know why, but Kit wants to meet with you, and I did.
Mhm.
It's like I don't know why, and I'm not sure like what any of his plans are. So take this with a grain of salt. But you know, my kid wants to. My dumb kid wants to. Well, maybe not my dumb kid, but like my kid wants to meet with you.
Yeah, I think you do refer to him as Kit in the text, and there's like a quick exchange of Kit. Oh, that's my name for Fox. That's his nickname. And she's like, oh, that's cute. And there's a small like talk about that real quick, but then yeah, wants to meet you, and she's like, well, if you, how would she respond to that? It's like, I think that that's acceptable. And then yeah, you can set the time, and you can set it for like the end of this week if you need to, or if you'd like to.
I think Lynx is gonna be like, is the end of this week okay? There's a lot of things going on, and like, and it's like, I don't think Lynx is gonna give away any cards, but just like as a courtesy, she's gonna let because I think Red is, she's someone in the know around the city. She's
Yeah.
definitely one of the major players in the city. So she's like, just as a courtesy, like something big has come up. We're kind of in the middle of it. If something explodes, you like just letting you know a little early.
Just no. The explosions may happen in the future. Yeah, Red agrees, and I think sets that for sort of a Sunday morning thing, in that like she runs a club and is very busy in the afternoons on the weekends. So
Right. There's like just like, and the last parting is like, here's hoping we're all alive by the end of this.
it's like it's the only thing we ever need. It's a response. Anyways, so that means Fox,
Yes, sir.
you have a meeting that is set up for like basically the end of the week, like a week from now almost.
Perfect.
You did talk to one of Dion's friends about doing some reconnaissance, and there are definitely they're starting to ramp up those sort of showings, I guess, of like debates or public events for political stuff. But if there's something else that you wanted to go into before then, we can definitely make time for that.
For the most part, no. Fox is honestly waiting for some info back from Lynx on or Oryx regarding the robot factories. He needs to. It's kind of one of the big cards he's saving for this whole setup with Red, so he needs to know a bit more on that before he has a chat with her. So he's fine with waiting for the meeting to deal with that. But no, I think at this point he recognizes like this is the part of his efforts where he needs to put almost like a primary focus on a political career. Like he trusts the other two and Dion and the rest to keep him in the know and to handle and make the right calls regarding like the larger conspiracy. And he cares about it obviously, but he recognizes that like for him personally, I have to put a primary focus on my political political ambitions right now at least. So he, I think he's spending most of his time like prepping for debates, writing speeches, practicing stuff like that, doing a lot of smaller public appearances, like a lot of like popping up at libraries or bars or like parks, just a lot of really small, in-person, personal events, things like that. Maybe even like has a small concert, like simple shit like that. That'd be a lot of what he does. Other than that, it would probably just be making sure Jess and Reyna got out of the city safely, making sure that kind of like proceeded as well, and like as he's now sort of like a level, a rank 7 operator, and he has sort of a bit of a larger pool of people to work with, checking in with whoever he can amongst his like his players, his clientele, the people he knows, just like not only to seeing like who he can shore up for like allies or reconnaissance or resources or information. Definitely checking in with all of them regarding what we're talking about with Lynx in terms of like finding that shell company or that factory, but also checking with them and saying like, hey, can y'all just check in on these this woman and this young girl? Not saying who they are. If any of them know, that's fine. Doesn't care. But just saying like, hey, listen, these two are two people who are escaping Night City. I'm not gonna say why or what I care about them for, but if you could just keep a small tab on them, let me know if anything pops up on the wire regarding them.
Yeah, I think that you meet, in regards to that, you end up getting to have a call with Daniel's stepdad, Alan Dresden.
Oh, fucking Dresden, badass.
Yeah, that guy. So you do like have a call with him because you basically sent those two out to be with that caravan as it passes by. Daniel's actually still in the city, mostly because he's still fixing stuff up, but also because he's like, stuff might go down that is important for the caravan to know. So he's sort of staying as a contact. He's not 100% in the know with you guys. I feel like you probably are like trying to keep information from people that it could be dangerous for them to know.
Exactly.
But he is like, hey, shit, definitely is about to go down. He's not dumb, and so he's stuck around, so he is a resource you can still call on in like the next few weeks.
Cool. Good to know.
But you do have a call with Mr. Dresden and be like, hey, can you make sure these two are all right? And he does answer in the affirmative. He's like, well, they're important to you. You managed to keep my stepson safe, so absolutely.
Yeah, Fox would be like genuinely showing like. Normally for Fox, like showing more casual respect is respect for him, but he'd be very, very respectful in this. Just thank you very much, sir. I appreciate that very heavily.
And yeah, as far as talking to your sort of constituents or potential constituents, as it is, I'd like a little flavor on that. Is there any like demographic you're targeting or message or like? I want to get a roll up for you to roll to see how well that goes, but I'd like a little more.
I think.
Little,
I think for the start, it would be mostly just popping up in places in South Night City, almost at random. You know, like starting with like very small things. Like he started off pretty, you know, low profile but still noticeable. The stuff like libraries, parks, really simple stuff. And you know, they wouldn't so much appear as like genuine, like planned, like scheduled events, but they more just be like. He pops into a library, people walk up and start talking to him, he makes like, makes a big circle of chairs, like, hey, sure, ask me questions, whatever. I'm here to talk with you all, have a good time. I think for the, eventually he kind of like gets a bit more personable, like he pops up at a bar one night, still dressed pretty nicely, not like dressed in his casual clothes, but pops up at a bar, pulls up at a chair, has, has a few drinks, maybe even at one point like kind of gets up on the mic and like says a few words, but nothing too high profile or anything. As far as demographic targets, he's honestly leaning a lot into either, like, booster gangers he's done good work with, people who he knows, like, listen, you guys are my people, like, y'all know how I get down. But outside of that, I think he would lean into people who almost dip away from the more harsher parts of Night City's life. Kind of, like, trying to show them, like, listen, not only am I, like, one of your mayoral candidates, I'm someone that was deeply entrenched and involved in this lifestyle. And, like, I'm just a normal person, Like... I think that'd be sort of like his two angles he'd approach the strongest.
Okay. So for when you're like meeting up with just sort of the rougher element of the city, I think Ben is generally the one who comes with you.
My guy Ben.
He's a big dude. He's a scary looking dude.
Good kid.
And he actually does like a lot of camera work, you find out while he's doing that. Cameras are pretty small now, so it's not like he has this big rig or anything. But, he has like just like a little shoulder cam and then a second like small, it's like yay big, it barely fits in his hand, so he gets like 2 or 3 angles on a thing at any given time.
Right.
And definitely you guys end up using that in sort of a ad capacity, sort of just, hey look, this is where he's from and what he's like, actually the part of the city he's supposed to be in. When you go to some of the more let's say more sheltered parts of the city and people, you definitely have Mariah as the one who generally goes with you as someone who still, can be there if a fight goes down, but Ben scares people pretty quickly, whether he wants to or not, and he's very aware of this. And that's also the time he takes to go and check up on Stink Miner the way that you've asked. So I would like some kind of role for, charming people up, however you want to do that.
You fucking got it, boss. Would you accept? Now I'm asking as I'm pulling up my character sheet right now. Would you accept? Let's go with, how about persuasion? It's a skill I have a lot of points in.
Sure.
Hiya.
You are persuading people to like you. I will take that.
That's an 18, which is a roll of a 2, by the way. So I'm actually gonna go ahead and blow a luck point, see if I can boost that a little bit.
Yeah, okay.
So rerolling at +1, I'll take away 1 luck point. That is a 23, which is a 24 total with the luck point.
Yeah, I mean, you put the work on. You're like, I'm gonna be charming as fuck. Here we go.
Fucking kiss some babies, give some handshakes, sign some books and shit. You feel me? I'm out here in these streets.
I think that you're surprised to find that there is almost an equal amount of resistance amongst the. Allie interrupting my train of thought with that excellent buy. No, there is almost as much resistance with the booster gangers as there is with like the normal people that you sort of have to work through, and you manage. And yeah, you find that I mean, your old booster ganger enemy that really dislikes you, Mr. Killer Sparks. He's been putting in some work trying to convince them that you're going to take advantage of them, if that makes sense, like these booster gangers. And you really put some work into sort of reversing that. So that's sort of one side of the campaign that you managed to do a lot of work on. And then with the regular people as well, I should say regular people, the sheltered people as well, you end up presenting yourself as like, no, I'm part of the city, I'm dedicated to it, and like I've always existed, even outside of your experience with the city, but there's no reason why we have to be separated. I think it's kind of the message you end up getting across is like, hey, this is part of the city, and it's better actually if we interact with each other and work together.
Right,
I mean,
exactly.
it's necessary. So yeah, I think that's sort of the early stages of the week, and that's kind of just happening in between other events through this week as you pop up to these places.
Hell yeah, hell yeah.
Now, as you talk to booster gangers and these the more like respectable people in the city, I would like you to roll, I want to say street smarts, to sort of, I don't know, get like a sense of your plans, because I know what your plan is at the end of the week,
Kershaw.
and I want to give you an insight into that as well.
That's a 17, which is a roll of a 3. Do I want to re-roll that 3 with another luck point? I have 7. I have 6 left. Yeah, we're not accepting rolls less than
It's up
20
to you.
today. I'm gonna re-roll another one with a luck point because we blow luck out here in these streets. So here comes the re-roll of that streetwise.
You've invested a lot of stat points into luck. You might as well use it.
Solid 20, 21. 21?
21.
21?
That has infected the internet's brain for forever. It's never going away.
It's the greatest meme.
Damn it. You stupid. Anyways, yeah, I'm going to message you, like, maybe some of the things that you realize about maybe the consequences of your plan. This is something we could have done between streams, but I find this more entertaining right now. But also part of that role, there is a certain flavor you get on the streets that you've talked to, like, booster gangers, and you've talked to the more sheltered, normal people. You get this feeling, this sort of center group that you were actually more a part of the slightly more organized, like a criminal / semi-criminal element. The people who are willing to break rules but are a lot more cautious about it. They're not here to necessarily tear down the system. They're here to do their best work in it.
Right.
And yeah, you kind of fit into that. And amongst those people, your reputation really hasn't been changed at all, but it is the more real version of your reputation, which is good? Is respected, is the word I would use.
I appreciate that.
But yeah, I will message you that in a second when I get a shot.
Take your time whenever you're ready. I'm looking at my Discord, boss.
Yeah, but in the meantime, I do have a question for Doc and Lynx. You have all this information. I think you guys can start doing that research on, I don't know, where the robots come from, if you'd like, together, or one or the other. You guys pick.
Still in the hidey hole with Manny, right?
Yeah.
So if we want, we can send a I guess a link of the really cool little fly drones in order to like link together Doc and Lynx.
Oh yeah, you effectively can like message each other at any time normally, but with those links, if you wanted to, you could basically follow Doc around and hack anything he needs to hack without actually having to be there.
Yeah.
With access to the fly drones, the way we're doing this is literally at any time if someone's like, hey Lynx, can you do a hacky thing for me? It takes you like 5 minutes to reposition the drones. I think you're almost surprised by the speed at which Manny has started building more of these things. It's still a pretty limited one in that he doesn't have access to the whole city, but he's made a second, basically, arm that you can extend to wherever in the city proper, the main island that you want to.
Oh shit, you've become the ultimate hacker. And you never have to socialize. It's like your dream.
This is why Manny is the way he is, actually.
I get it. It makes sense. It's all reasonable.
It's like, but like Lynx understands that socializing is a thing you need to do, which is why she's trying to drag Manny into being kind of social, even if it's over virtual.
Oh, don't you worry. I got plans for the kid.
We know what your plans are.
No,
Be nice.
you literally don't.
Be nice. Anywho, so okay, so Doc I'm assuming Doc sent over the healthcare data.
Yeah. And, a basic explanation of like, here's the patterns that I found, here's what I think is happening as far as like keeping any corpos from getting too far ahead.
That's an interesting hypothesis. It's like almost like an artificial like invisible hand in the market actually. Now that she's thinking about
The
it.
invisible hand of the market.
What a weird concept.
An artificial invisible hand. I'm sorry. I'm bringing that. But yeah, so like I feel like Lynx would like have this thought and be like, bro, why would somebody bro, why would somebody ever want to do this? Like any
Money.
like any ideas like clearly like this is probably most definitely that is most definitely the Musk AI, right? But like for what reason would he ever need to do this, right? Like is he trying to take over? Like it doesn't sound like he's taking over the corpos, but he's
AI
definitely
Elon Musk. Yeah, so I guess you present this data to Oryx, and he hasn't seen it until now, until you sort of like bring it up with him. And he takes a look at it, and you think like a normal person would take a long time to really understand what it is, but the second he sees the numbers, he's like, oh, that's interesting. And you haven't seen like this AI version of your brother pause and think almost ever. Like any pauses you get the sense are there to be more personable and not necessarily because he has to. But you actually see him like you swear there could be like a little loading bubble on his forehead as he like takes a second of actual pausing and like
Fucking rainbow wheel.
the rainbow wheel.
yeah, he's got a little rainbow wheel going on. Like not really, but you can sort of tell. You have enough experience with AI. And he's like, there's a pattern that it's not everywhere. Like it hasn't really gotten over to most of the European nations or like the Asian markets yet, but that's like all over this continent, even a little bit in South America, as much as it's not exactly as stable as say like the Seattle, Ontario area. But yeah, this is a pattern that holds, and it seems like it's only any company over a certain price value. Like if they don't make enough, the robots don't seem to care. Here, let me show you. And he throws up a thing, and it is like basically a yearly earnings chart, and it's moving through the dates. And all of the red ones at the top are the ones that are experiencing accidents, and you can see a clear cutoff at a specific point, and that point gets a little higher over time. And he's like, "This is 10 years. This is small. Like
Taking
this
into
is a
account
slow."
inflation.
Yeah, this is a slow burn. I think if we found a smallish company that is like right below that line, that would be the one they're trying to help without anyone noticing. We could hack a bank and give a company a billion eddies in a minute, but like, one, that would be extremely suspicious to everyone, and two, that doesn't actually help a business. Like a business kind of has to build up slowly. You can't just have a bunch of money. You also need all the infrastructure and the community and the lots of stuff. That would be my best bet. Is I'd look at something right at the edge of that amount, and then he just sort of throws the amount up in this virtual space that you're talking to him, and it's like that's where it's at right now. It's basically like a yearly earnings after taxes. Like he goes in a long explanation of exactly what that number means, like business wise, but it's effectively like how much they're making in a year.
Right. But why would anyone do like this? Like Lynx is incredibly confused. It's like, why would anyone do this? Why would anyone want to help a company to reach the line, go over the line, and then give them problems, right? And do this for multiple companies. It's like it's almost like a shadow corporation controlling the. It's like what? Why bother?
Well, I think it's Shadow Corporation. Someone has a bunch of small businesses that are not technically connected, but they're trying to position them to be just at the cusp of the big players. I'm assuming for like one big moment where then they can form them all together, make a much bigger company, and then be top dog almost instantly. It would be almost impossible for any person to do, but an AI with all these numbers, who is extremely patient, possible.
Okay, so we should be looking into the small companies that are reaching that line, haven't reached above it, and have potential to, I guess, form a monopoly merger, if that makes any sense. It's not like they have. It's not like
Yeah.
the laws against monopolies apply anymore in this day and age.
Yeah, it also wouldn't have to be a monopoly. Honestly, it could be a bunch of companies that do a lot of different things that just support each other. Uh, yeah, Oryx, thanks for seconds. Like, do you ever hear about really old, like one of the first capitalists, Rockefeller?
Yes, I
He
remember.
didn't.
Wasn't that like a, what do they call it, like a vertical monopoly, or was it
Yeah,
horizontal? I can't remember.
exactly. Vertical monopoly. He didn't necessarily own all the railways. He just owned literally everything involved with making a railway. Uh, this plan is something for that, I think. It's like, look, they don't need to be the only player in town in a specific vertical. They just need to be the one that owns literally it top to bottom, so they can streamline the whole thing. Uh, that's what I would do, and this would be a way no one would notice. It would put you in a perfect position. No one would ever be suspicious. You could be on top in a matter of days, weeks, depending on the event that you took advantage of. And considering that they basically had been committing corporate sabotage at this level for like a decade without people noticing, I'd imagine they could get away with some pretty major events.
It's not like they're doing things like assassinating people and putting other people on their board.
Yeah, this is subtler than that. It's smarter than that. No one's even going to question it when a bunch of these companies come together and become super powerful. It'll just be there.
Fuck, where's Dion when you need him? I need a we need Dion. I'm sorry, but I cannot conspiracy theory these things. Dion is the one you go to for the for Dion is the one we need when it comes to figuring out these kinds of
He knows.
just
I'm going
Lynx
to
is
say, oh, sorry, Doc, when you basically kind of showed this data to Dion, and he's the one who sort of pointed out what it meant, he already has a bunch of conspiracy theories on this as soon as you show him that data. Like, because he is someone who's just in the world and keeping track of information, he's like, oh yeah, people have been noticing that things are way more evened out than they should be. There's arguments that no, this is just the post-Corporal War economy. Everyone is kind of struggling, so no one's getting out ahead. And the conspiracy theorists like Dion that are smart understand that that's bullshit. It's entirely possible after a big catastrophe that one company might just start owning everything. And so people have been kind of suspicious of this phenomenon for a while, but they haven't had this sort of injury data on the large scale or suspected the robots about it.
also can't be this kind of data also can't be released like this. Lynx is gonna ask, I guess, like Dion, like if a report were to come out on this kind of theory, right, with evidence and everything, like to back it, because they do have all of this. We do have all of the evidence, right? What would be the backlash? Because Dion is the one who is like our kind of like our expert on this kind of I guess scenario, especially because, well, like if this report were to come out, like would that speed up this guy's plans, right? Do we need to take him out first before anything happens? Like, is this something, you know, like?
Yeah, I need to find. I'm gonna open up Dion's sheet because I want him to roll this. I just need to find where Street Smart is because I generally don't have to find these things. You guys do.
It is.
It's like in the what is it? First page under education.
There it is.
Streetwise under social.
Yeah, there. No, you're right.
On the right.
Streetwise.
Yeah, there it is.
Street
I found
slang
it.
is under education. That's why I keep getting confused.
Oh, what?
Oh yeah.
I accidentally gave him a plus 58 instead of the plus 13 he should have. Give me a second. All right. Now he's gonna use a luck point and do that because that's low.
That's
Oh
not good.
no! And then he rolled a 1.
He could use another luck point.
One more time.
+2. That's a 20.
That's only a +1. It's a +1 every time you have to re-roll it, unless you
got it.
spend 2 luck points to re-roll it, but then you re-roll it once. Anyways, that's a 19 is better. So yeah, you sort of present this to him, and it's gonna take him a little bit to really dig into that. So we'll get the full roll in a minute. I want you guys to do some scenes first, but when you first ask him this via a quick call, you can hear him. He's like trying to be kind of quiet. He doesn't shush you, but he's like, yeah, I'm here. I mean, generally, as sad as it is, people react better to a story when there's a villain or like a person who did a thing without a face to this, unless you want to try and convince them of a rogue AI from a previous CEO that isn't around anymore. It's going to be harder to convince them that this is true. We can give them a central person who's doing a thing for a reason. It's going to go over better. But if we convince people of it, generally it'll work fine. I mean, they'll probably stop buying the robots. They might, some of the government types might try and outlaw the company or at least break it up in some way. Hard to say, but we could at least stymie the buying of these robots, which seems to be what's causing a lot of this.
Okay. Lynx has an idea now. It's like,
But his first instinct is give me a person's face to put on this, and it would be bought much easier.
okay, because Lynx has thoughts. First off, we have several enemies. We have Dion's enemies. We have Foxxie's enemies. It'd be very easy to put their face to it, but like some people aren't that smart, right? Definitely Dion's enemy might be smart enough for this.
Although he's so very specifically about Biotechnica, this guy is chasing down Dion, that you think it might be harder to pin it on him simply because Biotechnica has experienced a bunch of these and has not benefited from this. But maybe he personally has if you can connect into like the small companies that did benefit.
Yeah, like, because Lynx is thinking maybe it doesn't have to be one person that we pin the blame on. What if it's like, you know, a coalition of, I guess, folks, just, you know, small business, like, just like, once again, they're small businesses, so just the people who are benefiting the most from this. Right, and if we can pin some of our, let's say, not so friendly people to this, then we can get rid of 2 birds with 1 stone, as it were.
Hey, you give me the data, fake or otherwise, and I will write you a story to convince people of it, but I do need some kind of evidence. Otherwise, even with my credibility, it's not going to happen.
I think we can get some of that. Lynx is gonna turn to Oryx and's like, how easy can we let's see, talk about some shell companies. Lynx is gonna go all in on like figuring out shell companies, trying to tie in folks who might benefit, and maybe replace some data.
Okay. I think that could work. I would like you and then Doc, if you'd like to help, you can also roll some kind of like library research check, or just however you think you would look into shell companies either benefiting from this, or you can start looking into the ones that, like the robot rumors. I think one or the other right now.
Huck, if you wanna,
Doc or Lynx or both.
yeah, because I think Lynx is gonna take that shell company thing and run with it. Like, kind of hyper focusing a little bit, but like she wants to get rid of 2, and she's like, look, this is a plan that could probably get rid of, like, you know, a couple of our enemies in one fell swoop. So like, so she's gonna, I think, maybe even like just like remote hack into and just try to figure out like how to tie, because also she also knows Stink Miner has a bunch of shell companies, right?
Yeah.
And if she can tie those shell companies to Stink Miner, right, on their current project, and also tie this back, whether fake or not, to this entire conspiracy, that's one problem taken care of. right? If she can tie Dion's problematic person, who
Mhm.
I'm actually not sure if Dion actually shared that name with her.
I think at this point he is trying to like not share this guy's name, but I think you guys know simply because as much as Dion's very good at tight-lipped, Teth and Ben are not.
So like Lynx is like it's like Dion, I think I can help you out a
Antonio
little.
Matias Ronaldo was the name that we picked, by the way.
Yes,
Big,
it's
long, dangerous sounding name.
like I feel like it.
Pretentious even.
Yeah, I feel like it came out to like Foxxii and Doc.
Oh yeah,
when they,
Foxxii and Doc. Fox and Doc were in that room at the time.
yeah, but like Lynx probably only heard it secondhand. But she's like,
Mhm.
I think I can, especially since it sounds like people don't like him. If we can tie this guy into things.
People don't like someone more successful and ruthless than them generally.
Yeah, but like it's like it feels like the kind of thing where if she can make these two folks like at least part of the I guess conspiracy, people already
Hmm.
don't like them, right?
Hmm.
If they get more ammunition not to like them, then that's
Yeah, okay.
Are you
it
informing us of this
will
plan?
at least tear down their reputation and
Ma, are you informing us of this plan of yours?
I think Lynx is gonna start by talking with Oryx about this, and then she's going to like I feel like she's already still on the call with Dion. She's like, Dion, I think I have an idea on how to maybe get rid of some of your problems.
I think a lot of this is not even like calls as much as you can have like a voice chat thing that you pop in and out of whenever you need to.
Yeah. So like I feel like she's going to, and then like she'll like just like quickly like grab like Foxxii and Doc and like just get everyone in a conference call. And it's like, I think I have a plan.
Mm-hmm.
Let's leave it at there's practically a countrywide conspiracy.
Mom's robots, I know.
And they're running everything through shell companies.
Makes the most sense.
If we can tie, let's say, Stinkmeaner's problems and Dion's problems via shell companies to this conspiracy, and then have that published in, let's say, an inflammatory matter, we take down a couple of birds in one fell swoop.
You can, like, hear Fox's smile through his voice, just like, you sure we're not bio-related?
Well, I guess your planning had to rub off on me at some time, huh?
I am so overwhelmingly proud of you, Ma.
I can see where your son gets it from now.
Aw, you flatter me, Doc. He took it a little too far, I think.
Genius plan, though. I think it works. We tie Stinky in, and whoever Dion's got problem with is fucking Antonio guy. We knock down our conspiracy theory and our two biggest problems in one fell swoop. That does put in a bit of a power vacuum, though, which, let's say I have some plans for.
Only we knew someone currently aiming to fill a power vacuum.
It's
in
like
the
you're
city.
reading my mind.
Yeah. So I think. Oh, sorry. You can finish.
I was just wondering, and like Lynx doesn't have any enemies, so that's one thing. But like,
well, not any named ones that are currently a problem. Let's say Arasaka definitely would love to get their hands on you, but
she doesn't have any like personal beyond like giant corporation she wants to like have torn down. But like, Doc, do you have, let's say, any ideas on who else might want to pin something on? Because like Lynx is already gonna go all in. Like it's just
Hey, listen,
like Doc,
for Fudge's stories,
Manny,
fudge
like
them all the way.
anyone that they want to fuck with this entire. It's like we're gonna be dragging this out into the light, and we're gonna drag some people with it. Anybody else you want along for the ride?
As much as there's one person who I would absolutely like to ruin their day, if they weren't where they were now, things would be a lot worse for me and mine. So unfortunately, I must decline on that front.
Some people have to stay in certain
Well,
places
let me
to
know
make
if you
things
change your
happen.
mind or if you have any. Let's say you want to use some leverage on them.
Matter of leverage. Anyways.
One last thing though, Ma.
Leverage is another matter entirely. Now
Certainly
that you
is.
mention it.
Hey, and if you need some grease from your favorite fixer, you let me know, alright, boss? You're one of mine. I take care of mine.
And I'm very grateful for that.
One last thing though, Ma. These bots all over the city, they work on a kill switch, right? Certain thing goes off and they go all wacko?
Yeah, it's not pleasant for, well, anyone.
Yeah, it's
really.
probably really gruesome. You think you can cause it to happen? Locally, at least?
I mean, I'm pretty sure we figured out that Lynx could.
Yeah, you'd have to do some net running
Yeah.
to figure out what it is, but as soon as
But
you
she
know
can
what the
essentially
signal is, you
broadcast
could.
the whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah, you have the technology to. You just need to
Yeah.
do a little more teching to figure out what it is.
D's on this
Exactly.
call, right?
Yeah, D can be here.
Cool. By D I meant Dion.
Yeah.
That's what I call my boy D. Just so you know, I got Ben following some leads on some things involving Stake Miner and whatever's going on at these extraction points. I got him whipping up a crowd, seeing if I can cause a little bit of a ruckus around the area. My goal is to have the security forces get a little bit too reckless. That's an unfortunately human element to my plan that if we could circumvent to a degree. What I'm thinking is, if this causes enough of a noise, maybe some of those bots get deployed in a security contingent. Maybe if that happens, I don't know, they get a little bit too antsy. Some people get a little hurt.
Yeah, Dion is considering, and he's like, well, Ben told me we can see it would be a good way to get some dirt in Stink Miner's eye if we can connect him to them. I mean, I'm
That's my
sure he
thought.
told you, but it looks like he kind of quietly replaced the security for this construction company, Petrochem. They're like the big one for, they're one of the major corporations. Like, I think he's replaced a lot of their security. So,
And I've got Ben working on outing that connection between him and security, and that's certainly one good link. But, if we're already dragging them all out into this robot conspiracy, the one thing we need to really incite that spark, and I hate to say this unfortunately, is something a bit public. Saying these robots could go a bit berserk is one thing. Saying it after a couple of them do it, I won't lie, it's messy. And people who don't deserve it will get hurt because of this.
And Lynx is having this thought. Like Lynx is not for, I guess, the regular folk getting hurt. But you said Petrochem, right?
yeah, they're
How-
the ones who are building the big monorail thing.
How are they doing on profits?
They are, I mean, they're the biggest, they're basically the world's largest producer of the Chew-2, like the biofuel that has replaced gasoline. And they make a lot of these sort of vehicle infrastructure and personal vehicles of everything. Their main competitor is Savoil from like a Russian-based company, and at least on this continent, they are the big dog. They are the 800-pound gorilla when it comes to fuel and vehicle production.
And how close are they reaching that profit value line?
You might have gotten the wrong impression. That's a minimum. Once you get above that is when accidents start happening, and they're beyond that. They aren't really pulling ahead in a way that there's a lot of accidents at the moment. Although actually, this is not something that I think you're good at, but I'd still love to see it. Some streetwise or some like human insight in some way. You think that you can think of it data analytics, but it's to notice a pattern that is not obvious.
Can I argue cryptography? Because cryptography is a lot about pattern analysis.
All right, I will allow that.
It's like
Using that fucking tech degree, aren't we?
17. Still better than whatever I would
17.
have gotten from anything else.
Uh,
It would be way better than.
I think 17 is enough. You are looking at them now, actually, and you notice, actually, they've just started breaking away a little.
Uh-huh.
And based on literally like a decade of data, they should be having a few accidents by now, and in fact, they do not. Like only a
Okay.
few, but they don't seem to have a more average number than normal. Or a higher number than average.
Yeah, so and it's strange because they should be having these actions based on like. And can she compare the data to their rival company and like?
Yeah. I mean, Savoil is not doing as well here, and that's what it seems to focus on is here in America. It's also there, but they are kind of breaking away even from other companies. You can do like a quick bit of research as part of this check. You're like, that seems suspicious, and you even look, and yeah, they're announcing like, oh, we're gonna expand into other like vehicle-related things, and that's maybe suspicious to you. You're like, that they should be having some accidents. That's exactly the kind of thing that accidents start happening around with these robots is when companies start stepping out of their normal like lanes,
Yeah.
you could say.
And I think Lynx is like. I think we found one of our companies who are benefiting.
Well, to be fair, they've had accidents in the past,
Right.
just not now. Just right now, like, hey, they should be having them and they're not this
Yeah.
moment.
And I think Lynx is thinking, I think they're overdoing an accident. And I think maybe we could have the robots turn on them and maybe not the public.
Like I said, you can find or make up some data to do it. I'll put it out.
Yeah, Lynx is like they're overdoing an accident, and I think we can stage one for them. It's already on the plan.
Well, suppose that does get less innocent people hurt. And if that's the way you want to run this, then I'm not going to tell you no.
It's like we could make it like we could make a spectacle of it. It is supposed to be, after all, a major accident, and it's supposed to lower company
Listen,
value.
The only advice I'll give to you is the bigger the better. But if you think you know what you're doing, I trust you.
Would the total collapse of would a large collapse of infrastructure?
This project that they're working on right now has a lot of publicity. Like,
Yeah.
Stickminer is pushing this.
Yeah, and
hard.
this is there's already a lot of publicity around it, right? Like we get this tied in. We get Stinkminer making all of this incredibly public tied in because that actually helps us, right? Because the fact that he's pushing publicity on it, if an accident happens, it's gonna take down takes down this corporation's value, right? Like, Lynx already knows that like probably that's not what he's intending for it, but like if this happens, we can tie that in and make that part of the conspiracy, and like people are going to take that and run with it, even if some people will always be skeptical, right? People want to believe what they want to believe. If there's even a grain of a chance that he's part of this conspiracy.
Yeah, if we can put Stinkminer even causally related to whatever happens with this incident, I bring him down entirely from there. Not just his political ambitions. Everything he has comes down around him. Yeah, I like your plan, Ma. I'm putting this all on you.
Leave it to us. Me and Big Bro got your back.
I trust you all. But I need you all to trust me for what happens next. Ma, you know this, but I'm putting you, Doc, and D in on this. I have a meeting with Red next week.
And?
Let's just say we'll be discussing the future of Night City. Or at least, my vision for it.
I respect her.
What does that vision involve?
Stability. On all fronts. Not just the sides that touch the light, but the darker elements too. All of Night City, stable. For at least a bit.
Do I want to know how you plan on attaining that state of stability.
You ever read Machiavelli, Doc?
Once upon a time,
Good. Don't read him again. He's dumb. But there's a lot of schools of political thought that spool out from his core ideology. That politics is a measure of the face you play in public and the darker moves you make behind the screen. I got my own sort of school of thought around that. I don't think I need to make every dark move in Night City myself. Some of them, maybe. But what I can do is make sure whatever moves get made behind my back have my, and by extension, Night City's best interests in mind. It puts an even bigger target on my back, even at the end of all of this. But it takes targets off of a lot of other people's backs. Not just good old regular folk here in Night City, but all of you.
okay then. I'm going to stop asking questions for now then.
Probably the smartest thing you could do, boss.
Please don't tell me you're gonna go off martyring yourself.
Not yet, come on.
I heard the yet.
Listen, if I'm gonna go out,
I heard that.
I need to have more than enough flash. You know me.
Every time you go out in something flashy, you get shot at.
But,
Ugh.
still breathing, right?
Yeah, and luck only runs so far.
Yeah, but I'm like,
Got the luck of the fucking devil.
think about it this way. I'm like 60 for 0 on near-death experiences. Worst case scenario, I'm like 61. Still a pretty good ratio.
You only need that one, damn it.
We all only get one.
Ugh, fine, whatever. Okay, you're an adult now. I guess I can't say anything.
Huh. That might be the first time in your life you've called me an adult.
Well,
Noted.
I guess it's time to let you leave the nest. Fuck, I hate it.
I'll do my best, Ma. I can't promise all this works out, but I have my head on straight right now, at least. I can promise you that.
I guess that's all a parent can hope for, huh?
Your concern is admired, at least.
Just you know, don't ever make me have to bury you.
You know I
Shit.
can't make that promise, right?
Well, yes, but you know, it's
It's symbolic, I get it. I promise. Alright?
my job to die before you.
Yeah,
Don't
well...
forget, Lindsay. If the Spectre of Death wants to get to him, it'll have to go through me first. And I'm very good at fending off the Spectre of Death.
That image of the statue that's like pushing the Reaper away. Not today, Death. That's not that thing.
Just say this.
And what do we say to the god of death, Fox?
We say not today.
Yay!
Yeah, see, I'm hip on my pop culture. Got me? Guess it's
Lynx
not really
has
pop
no
culture
clue what
anymore,
you
though.
guys are talking about, and she's like, oh, just
Old TV,
thanks,
don't
God,
worry
I
about it.
guess.
I'm saying I save people's lives. Lynx.
That,
It's
that,
literally
be
my
saying
job.
that. Listen, point is, when the dust clears from all of this, I want you guys to keep your heads down. Just for a bit. Whatever I have planned, you guys will know by tonight. I'm certain of that. Or I guess you'll know by the time I meet with Red. But I need
Yeah.
to make sure everything's locked in before we do that. I just have a couple more requests before we start moving these things. Alright? First up, about these robots, Mom. We need to know, 1, can we lock down that factory? 2, can we start building start building robots of our own? I don't need to know that right now, but if you can find me those answers before I meet with Red, I'm allowed to play my cards. Doc,
Yes.
on your end, all I need is a promise. I don't know if you know how my line of work.
What's
I don't know if you know how my line of work works, per se, but I don't trust a lot of people. And even the people I say I trust, well, I sometimes put holes in them. But a very small sect of people, and I mean an infinitesimally small group of human beings on this earth, are people I will actually turn my back to in a firefight. I'm calling you one of those people, Doc. I need to know you won't put a knife in me.
You are aware of what I do for a living, yes?
I mean like a knife in me for non-surgical purposes.
You have my word.
That's all I can ask. Alright,
So long as I feel a gun to the back of my head.
listen, man. If you're in my circle, the only people who get guns to their heads are people who threaten you.
Then I suppose we have a deal.
You know I love my deals. Alright, team. You got your places? We got our jobs? We know what to do. Stay low and check in. Alright?
Keep me informed on your contacts. We still need. I need them to track down the location of the factory.
Whatever I know, you'll know.
Okay. Then I have a proposal as to how we go about this research. One of you, and I assume Fox or Doc would be best for this, finds rumors of where are the robots supposed to be coming from. Then one of you finds out shell companies that are benefiting from it, and then one of you tries to find the location of this robot factory. We can divvy that up however you guys think is best, though.
Run those by us one more time so I can make sure I got the list again.
Yeah. One person needs to find out, hey, where do people think these robots are coming from?
Mm-hmm.
Then shell companies that are benefiting from this, I guess, market manipulation,
Mm-hmm.
but and who owns them, I guess, is part of that.
Mm-hmm.
And then where is this robot factory? I kind of want to deal with them in that order. However, we do those roles.
I think the one I'd be most helpful for would be like where's the robot factory? Because that'd be the thing my contacts would be the best at helping me figure out. I think personally, so
Okay.
I'll reserve myself for that task. I think you two would be probably
Mhm.
better suited for the other setups. So handle those as you wish.
Yeah, as far as the rumors of where the robots come from, Doc, you could always leverage your aunt, as she is very good at finding out rumors, and is actually part of this corporate thing. Not to push one on you if you wanted to try and find the other, but
I'm sure I can convince her.
Yeah.
Her being you.
hey,
Well-
I'm just here to make the decision she would make. You have to convince her.
I feel like
I'd do anything for you.
I just realized the weirdness of me referring to a character as myself and not as my character to the person who plays that character.
Mhm.
Oh no, we broke the fourth wall.
as
Fuck!
themselves as that character.
Fuck, we
That was
broke the
meta
fourth
enough. It
wall.
broke a fifth wall somewhere. Don't worry about it.
Oh no, we broke the fifth wall in Roundhouse. We can't do that again, guys. My brain's not ready.
I'm
And I
There's
just-
nothing
I
to go
mean-
for that meta stuff.
I think
I'm
Michelle
just
had a
Nero
thing.
targeting myself like halfway between the fourth wall.
Exactly.
Phasing in and out. Let's go. Anyways.
I think Michelle had a thing she wanted to
yeah.
mention.
Oh yeah, go.
So first off, I think I guess going where things is going, I think Lynx is probably the best bet for tracking down shell companies, at least the data trail that
It's
they
just-
have.
yeah.
But also I think Lynx would offer, I guess, her skills as leverage to Doc.
Yeah, I think you guys can help with any of these things. It's just who's
Definitely.
going to do the final roll.
Yeah,
Right,
definitely.
like just like as negotiation, because like I think if because we're definitely, I think we have a plan set to blow this open,
Yeah,
right?
we know what the setup is. We know what we're doing here.
But I think Lynx is like, well, and it's slightly unethical, but if your contact has some rivals that she wants attached to, say,
Get her to benefit from this faking of the shell companies.
and we, let's say, put her in a very decent light as someone who has been doing her best to track down, let's say, this conspiracy, and putting her full effort in.
Woman, if you weren't my mother, I'd marry you.
Then not only.
Doc, real quick, as Lynx proposes this, do you want to roll me some human perception
Sure.
Perception that is human.
on your aunt?
I mean, if I'm still here, could I help him out with that roll, technically speaking, by like...
This is about his aunt in particular, but if it's close, then... so, Doc, and maybe you express this, maybe you don't, but if you do, I think then Fox can help you a bit with this, that you're like, well, really, she could benefit the most, maybe from taking out rivals, but also from, like, if she was credited as the person who, like, found out about this conspiracy and whenever you do your final big thing, that would also make her look really good. Like, extremely good, because her job is preventing problems from happening.
That's a really good idea, especially for what Fox has set up. Again, the devil you know, right?
That's if you want to help her further her career or not.
I mean,
Well, I better ask for something big in return.
this is a
Sure.
thought. Okay, so I don't. So I'm gonna try to do as best as Fox could. Look, Doc, I don't know what beef you got with Rockland. You've never really outed that to us entirely, and it's fine. I don't need to know everything, dude. It's all good. But it sounds like you would stand to reason from a shakeup in the Rockland leadership, and it sounds like you at least have somebody on the inside. If we're gonna shake up Night City entirely, and we're putting people in places of power who we want, hey, maybe we put her in a place that makes a bit more sense. I'm saying we let her know this if we have to, but even if we don't, and run this sort of as like a secret thing we just kind of do to let her know behind the scenes, but she'd know once we do it. If we tie Rockland into all this stuff too, get their upper leadership shaken up entirely, but leave her as a single person who like whistle blew on this, outed it, and got her in place. Again, the devil we know. That gives me a really strong ally, even if she doesn't know that I have her as an ally for a reason. It also gets you, and whatever beef you got with Rockland, some more leverage on your side.
Well, I think having her owe me one that big might just be worth the stomach pain I'll feel every time I see her as the face of the company.
Politics is
I'll arrange a
smiling in the
meeting.
face of people you hate.
See what I can negotiate. I have an idea, though.
I trust you,
Okay.
boss.
Well, then, I think the order that this is going to happen is Doc's scene first with his aunt. What I would like is probably Lynx, some kind of data manipulation role to, like, I don't know, present this in a way that looks more convincing. Because right now you have a lot of correlation, but this could be a way that you can give
I got
Doc
this.
a resource.
I got this.
She got it, she got
Bureaucracy.
it, she got it.
And the way we're going to do this is that if you beat the DC of, I'm going to say, 13, by 3 or more, you're going to get more than one resource point, which is going to be like a temporary luck point for this situation.
Can Lynx do a mix of bureaucracy and accounting to like just really like up the numbers?
I'm going to say if you don't horribly fail the first, then you can use the second to get a second resource point. Both of them are going to be a little higher, though, so now it's going to be, you have to beat 15 to get the resource point on both of them. But so long as you don't, like, bomb the first one, you get the second one as a shot. And it'll be basically collecting the data and then formatting it in a way that makes it even more convincing.
I have faith. I have faith.
So, okay, because, like, Lynx is good at both, but she's better at accounting, so I'm trying to figure out which one to roll first.
Mm-hmm.
I say roll the better one first so you get the better shot at taking the second one. If I mean, not to like backseat game you, obviously, but, you know.
Because it feels like it would make sense for Lynx to, like, first look at it from, like, an accounting perspective, right? That's what she's good at. That's what she's good at. She's like, okay, numbers, right? Like, these are the financials. These are the things that would, like, and also because that's the things that really companies mostly care
being
about.
affected.
Yeah. So we're gonna roll accounting first, and then she's gonna roll bureaucracy to kind of like pretty up the graphs, make them like. Can she make those graphs look mwah, beautiful and like understandable. That's the hard part. Cause
She's gonna
like,
fucking Jarvis them.
graphs don't make sense to.
Fucking pulls up all the
Yeah,
data, just the
and
fucking
look-
Jarvis organizes for me. Fucking grabs the data in the
Yeah, like-
hologram, throws it around. It's like 8 different charts all around her. She's just
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
yeah, I got this. Fucking Lynx
Yeah,
Stark.
I mean, Link, you don't know Doc's aunt really, but you know enough about her to be like, she is effectively a fixer for a corporation. She's the Foxxii of her organization in a way, and you know, her specialty is in getting people to do what she wants, not necessarily data analytics. So the organization and presentation of this could be very important for convincing her.
Ooh, money
Yeah,
talks either way.
It's true. So yeah, definitely, I like that order. First, roll me the accounting one.
Got it. 16. What did I get? I rolled a 2.
So
Let me
you
blow
get-
luck.
Go for it.
Okay, roll this again. Because a 2 is okay. Oh, 23!
23. All right. Fine. Yeah. So you get 2 resource points for that. Doc, I want you to write that down as the resources you're getting for this conversation.
Okay.
And then yeah, you roll really well. So now the second one is going to actually be. It's either the same roll or Doc only gets 1 resource point, but the second roll is much lower.
I'm gonna. I think I do like this idea of like Lynx like first like figuring out the.
Oh yeah, you've aggregated the data. It's like 5 or 6 different spreadsheets that are like color coded, but it's just not prettified. You're like,
And-
I understand what this means, but
Like it's like for a business person probably not the greatest. So we're gonna roll bureaucracy. Like Lynx is not the best at this, but she knows her way around paperwork.
okay.
Ooh. Okay, we're gonna definitely have to blow a luck on this one.
Oh, that's a red number. We don't like those.
We don't like red
We
numbers.
fix red numbers.
Okay, that's a 14.
Hey, 14. Yeah, I'm gonna say that Doc still only gets 2, simply because it would take a resource point for the check to be low enough for this to pass, and then he gets 1. So you do prettify it. I think you're like digging into the period of time in your life when you did work for a corporation, technically, and you had to like make reports to convince them. It's like, no, this is an important security thing that we need to deal with. Guys, don't brush me off. So you know, it's not like your specialty, but it's presentable, and you just have to hope that, you know, this person is more intelligent than your average dumb corpo executive, but considering where she's at as a person, you assume she is. So yeah, Doc, you still have the 2 resource points that are, again, temporary luck points for the purposes of that conversation,
Okay.
so that you can convince Miss Rachel Barrison to do good.
I knew someone with the last name Barrison in middle school, I feel like. I can't remember who they were, though.
So yeah, Mitt sends you, admittedly, a slightly more clinical set of like numbers and spreadsheets and charts than you think. Say, if Dion were putting this together, he would have made it a little more pretty. But
Also, you called her Mitts, yeah.
It's okay,
this is
we're
a
both
podcast
cats.
running multiple games.
Crossover.
Both cats.
You don't even run that game.
I do not. I do not. But yeah, Lynx. Damn. Yeah, but Lynx sends you maybe a more clinical chart than you would have thought, say, someone who's really good at presentations would do. But it's very understandable as to what's going on. Crossover episode when y'all enter a VR game and like the Seven Sons people are in it somehow
It's
as
just like
characters.
it's a movie. It's like a movie that was really good, actually. Aired in like 2030. It was like a super good movie, actually.
Anyways.
Anywho.
Oh, I've already been timestamped on our Discord chat. You should know. I used the wrong name. Yep, that's fair. Anyways, so yeah,
Clip
that's
it and
what you
ship
get.
it.
I thought I misheard actually.
I legitimately didn't even notice until someone said that. I'm like, oh shit.
No, I had to
damn,
think
okay.
about it for a minute. I was like, wait, no, he definitely said Mitts just now. Oh, boy.
Look,
but yeah,
you
so-
just yell out the wrong name. It happens.
Yeah, I mean, look,
Hold up.
I'm
okay,
sure if I had
soundtrack?
kids, I would yell out the wrong. Right? The soundtrack for this actually, again,
Oh.
Sirenscape, shout out. This is real good. Yeah, I think that you end up meeting your aunt in like the same bar, but now it's like earlier in the day, so there's just like nobody there. 'Cause it's the only time she could meet on short notice.
Question: do I have Lynx with the fly robot following me covertly.
He can be, yeah.
Right.
Again, there's no cameras in this place specifically for the purposes of these people don't want to be spied on by the corporate overlords, but
Yeah, but I might need a record of this conversation just for insurance purposes.
yeah, okay. So I think you find it pretty easy to. I don't believe you have an agent, but you have like a normal phone.
I think
You're basically gonna be. Oh, if you have an agent, then yeah, you can be like streaming footage from you to Lynx directly.
I'll say, if you don't got an agent,
Well, I
I'll
don't
buy you a
necessarily want
fucking
her to
agent.
know that it's being recorded.
Yeah, I mean, she won't know simply because your aunt is not a tech person who can hack into your body. You're pretty sure.
Well, I just have a regular agent. That's not built into me like Fox's is.
Yeah, but it's fine in that you can, have that, and it's streaming footage from wherever you put your agent in like a pocket or wherever, and the audio directly to Lynx. So even if someone like tried to steal it afterwards, Lynx already has a copy as it happens.
I'm fairly certain Lynx could probably very easily disguise the transmission as something else.
Yeah, that's also something that you'll do in the case that it gets hacked into. But yeah, she can effectively be there for the purposes of making records of this.
Okay. Salve, Auntie.
Yeah, sure. I hope you have something. She looks kind of tired, stressed even. You don't know that you've seen her on her heels this way before.
Well, to each their own, but let me run an idea by you. How would you like to have a promotion?
Definitely a little bit of a perk up at this. It's like, you normally don't start with the manipulation this early. Yes, I'd like a promotion.
Today.
All right, how?
Well, suppose there was a conspiracy involving. Suppose a massive conspiracy involving a large number of shell corporations were to be uncovered, and those found to be pulling the strings behind the scenes were people who were above you in power. Now suppose that the person who uncovered this conspiracy were a honest, hard-working, lower management professional at one of these companies. Don't you think that would be good for their upward mobility?
She's definitely considering it. I would like you to roll some kind of conversation, persuasion, what have you roll.
Remember, you have resource points.
I do have research.
Yeah. We're also going to flavor that if you use one of those, that you bring in data to make your argument.
That makes sense. Oh, that's a good roll.
Pretty good.
19. 19.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty good. You present this, it's like, that's wonderful idea in theory. Sure, I would like that. And then she kind of gives you a look up and down. It's like, I would maybe buy your fixer friend could pull that off. Possibly the detective-ish one. But you?
Why do you think I keep them as my friends?
That's true. What would you need from me to do this?
See,
You effectively convince her it's possible, but...
See, well, you're already able to clear my parents' debt. So what more could I?
Break it up there a bit, Dan.
Oh,
I thought it was
sorry.
just-
And then it hit me.
Oh,
If this
sorry,
goes
I
off-
just got it.
Oh, sorry. What's
You
happened?
just came back. You were good.
You broke up for a second.
Oh,
You should be good now, I think.
sorry. What's the last thing you heard?
You've already going to pay off my parents' debt.
Yeah, stream caught that too.
You're already going to pay off my parents' debt, so what more could I ask of you? And then it hit me. See, if this goes off, you're going to be set for life. So I think it's only fair that some other people get to share that benefit. I don't just want my parents' debt erased. I want them to never have to worry about money again. I want them to be living as comfortably as they possibly can, never having to worry about anything, food, medicine, cost of living, rent, you name it. They are secure.
Let's fucking go!
Money can buy.
She definitely has this sort of look of suspicion, but almost like respect as you just lay into her with these demands. And it's like, that seems like a reasonable ask if I were convinced that what you're going to uncover is so big that it will get me in a high position. I don't even know who to target because I have no idea how big you're talking here.
How high do you want to go in the company?
I think she scoffs and it's like, if you wanted to get rid of, Hidalgo, the CEO, but I doubt that you can get dirt on her like that.
Who said anything about getting there? We can just make our
Same
own.
difference. So
Do we
as
have a deal
stepping
or-
out for a second, she is convinced that you want to do that, but that big of a buy is going to require another roll, possibly with some proof.
All right. Conversation again, or are we?
Sure. Just going to say to get this, we're going to say you automatically spend one of these points, and you can
Okay.
spend a second one if you want to re-roll.
I think I'll do that. Fuck, that's all my resources then.
Yeah, but you can still use luck to re-roll.
True.
And this is going to be +2. You're using both of them on
shit, I
this.
like the sound of
Woo!
that.
Oh, crit!
28. So you, if you let me play with this
That's
for a
a
second.
big
So you,
crit.
Still don't believe
she
we can
just
do it.
she's like, I take out the CEO, and you're like, oh, we could make it. And you're like, don't believe we can do it. You slide this information to her, and she just like, first kind of just rolls her eyes, and then she like taps the sort of data chip that you have, and you can see that it's actually being projected into her eye, like you can sort of see it flash. And she stops and she looks, and you can see like her whole posture change from like just sort of tight and all that to like, huh. And then it's like up and straighter, and then she starts looking up, and you can see she's thinking about it. It's like, this is pretty big. This is huge, even if we can pin the right guy. Real quick, chat redeemed a name, I believe, and I don't see it.
Let me see. I don't see a new redemption for it. Did you
We
get
have
the
a
one I
we have
pointed
a
out to you
name
earlier?
sitting in the queue.
The only
Yeah,
one sitting in the queue right now is Trevor currently.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Anyways, sorry to have reset that, but we're literally using it to name a person about to be set up.
Purple.
So yeah, she just, she thinks it's like, I said the CEO, but honestly, I think the company's better off with her at the helm, and I don't like to be the face of things. I work better. However, she has a personal fixer that is higher up in the company than me. And the benefit to setting up this guy Trevor is that then you won't have to see me ever again. And
That is
from that
pretty strong
position,
benefit.
and I won't have to see you. I'll be on the other side of the country almost all the time. And it also has the benefit of I can probably position your parents into a higher. Your father would be good at the engineering and design. It's out of the way. There's less politics. It's just come up with good things, which, despite their tendency to be poor with money, he was at least good at designing. And she sort of like gestures to your whole body, designing this sort of thing. I'd say if you can tie this guy Trevor to being secretly manipulating his own shell companies, whether they exist or not, at the detriment to his boss's company, probably a pretty good way to get him fired. And if I'm the one who shows it to her, well. And there is like this sort of very subtle, she doesn't like do a big toothy grin, but just this sharp, poisonous smirk. It's like, well, I think I'm good enough to maneuver my way into where he was.
I take it we have a deal then.
It's the only time you've seen her actually like respect making a deal in a solemn way with you. She generally just leaves, but she actually holds a hand out. She wears like gloves. You know that she doesn't like dirt or touching people, but she holds a hand out and like, I'm gonna deny anything and everything if this goes south.
I'd be ashamed if you didn't try.
And yeah, she'll shake your hand on it. And you hear her
Here's
just
to
very
never
quietly,
seeing
just
each other again.
here's to that. She holds like a drink up. It looks like a pretty classy one, even though it's like 10 in the morning. And just drains the whole thing real quick and is out.
Well then, pleasure doing business with you.
Again, the sarcastic smirk. And yeah, she gets up and leaves. So I think she stops though, actually, real quick. It's like, oh, have you found out where the robots are supposed to be coming from?
Already looking into it.
It may interest you to know that at least our tech people, the ones from Biotechnica that I interrogated, they had a specific place that they thought it was coming from. They thought they should be able to find, they just couldn't find any place to actually buy from that company. I don't know how you react to her basically saying she'll give you information, but I think her quick response is very much, don't worry, I want you to succeed so that I get the position you promised me. I would look into WazTech. They're supposed to be a small robot firm. They've been around a while and have never really stood out. But that's where they're supposed to be from.
WazTech, you say? Alright.
Roll me a quick history, just real quick.
Oh.
Some kind of history, remembering things, because...
Okay. I don't think I have great history.
It's fine.
Is there even a history skill? I don't see a history check.
Hey,
Or
education.
education? Sorry.
Okay, yeah, I can do education. Ooh,
15. You don't know much about him, but Waz is definitely like a computer engineer that, in real life, outside of game, is like a guy who's alive now.
wait,
It's
like Steve
electronics-
Wozniak?
Steve Wozniak. Niak.
Oh.
Niak? I don't know how to say his last name. But he's known as Waz a lot. And like, yeah,
Yeah.
that's what this company is
No
named
problem.
after, is this guy Waz. Just a detail.
I'm Guy Waz, and this is NPR.
Wait, Steve Wozniak?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what this company is ostensibly named after, in particular, is this guy.
Alright.
Just thought you should know. And so yeah, she hands you this information, basically, is at least two different people from two different companies both thought that's where the robots were supposed to be from. That's the brand of robot they're buying.
Alright. I'll rustle a few trees and see what I can find.
But
And-
yeah, that's kind of the scene. Unless there's something else you wanted to say, sorry.
No? I'll turn
Okay.
around, head out. See you never.
Yeah, I think that's a good place for us to take a quick break, I think. We're about at the 2-hour mark, so we'll be right back with the other two parts of unraveling this mystery. See ya, bye. Hey, yo,
What it
how's
do?
it going, guys?
Hey,
We
hey.
are back.
What's up, y'all?
Hey, yo. Hey, so right before break, we just saw Doc absolutely interrogate the hell and finesse a conversation with his aunt, Rachel Barrison. And we have found out that the robots are supposedly coming from WazTech, a small, like, no really of well-renowned robotics, electronics engineering company.
Man, my ass looks great on stream. Sorry, I just wanted to make sure that was known.
Yeah.
EOS.
Listen, I was going up to go change the AC temperature. That was totally...
He's wearing pants, it's fine.
Yeah, I got full pants on. Come on.
If y'all would like some behind-the-scenes knowledge, an hour before we were supposed to go live, when we all met in chat, Chris was not wearing a shirt.
Alright, I didn't know we were just going
I
to out
am
me
outing
like
you
that,
like
but that's
this.
cool. I mean, sure. Thanks. Whatever.
More relevant to the things we're doing right now.
Thanks, Tate.
I
Appreciate
believe,
that.
Yep. I
I'm giving
believe
a
the
thumbs
order
up.
that we wanted to... Dan is giving a shadowy, vague thumbs up, hidden by the mists of the city. Man, I love
Very
this
much
background.
enjoying
He's fun.
your Discord background.
Anyways, so I believe what we wanted to do next is Fox is going to try and figure out where these robot factories are.
Word.
But we could also do that Lynx tries to find these shell companies that are benefiting.
I mean,
Either of those can go.
Fox is mostly going to use his info to try to, like, benefit Lynx in, like, figuring everything out. So, like,
It's true.
I figure his scene's probably going to be pretty quick of just, like, trying to check in with who he can, get what info he can, and then ship it out off to her. Because, like, he knows, like, while he can probably, like, make some assessments, like, make some assumptions, he doesn't really have to, like, make any, like, strong guesses here. He can just forward the info off to Lynx, and he knows, like, she'll make sense of it. He trusts her that much, you know?
That's fair. I'm going to say that if you're looking for where the robots come from, you don't really get a resource from Dan's conversation, but you do get that name WazTech, basically. If you wanted to use that in some way to either focus or eliminate parts of your search.
Yeah, I think I would
He's also
definitely...
sent the list of factories, of possible factories, and already crossed out a couple.
Yeah, so I would definitely try to, I mean, to, like, his limited ability, he'd probably get, like, you know, Mariah to help out this too, because he's not super smart. Try to, like, cross-reference, like, who on his list of people I associate with or who I know do business in anything to do with that, like have any of these robots deployed in any capacity, whether it's booster gangers, corpo officials, politicos. At this point, he's again, I'm a level 7 operator, so, like, you know, like celebrities, like anybody associated with this, like, who might, if a Rocker Boy group has, like, some fucking roadies that are these robots, like, he has them on his list. He's cross-referencing that list with two things. The first being, like, obviously, like, the list of factories that, like, that Lynx sent off as, like, possibles for South Night City. Like, anybody that's on that list is, like, a priority. Anybody that not, he's gonna cross off and not worry about. And then cross-referencing that list with, like, anybody that's either dealt with WazTech directly to get these robots, or that's dealt with similar models to what WazTech is selling, if he has that info.
Okay, so that's interesting.
So, yeah, I think based on, he would use sort of those two criteria to sort of filter out his list, and whatever, like, the remainders are for those people, he would contact those people first, see, like, who, you know, what he might be able to find out based on what they know.
Okay. This might be a few rolls, because I like this flavor.
Not a problem.
First, I would like you to roll trading. It's a cool skill just below streetwise.
I got it, and I got some points in it. That's a 16.
16. All right. You, I think, first are like, hey, where have people been getting these robots? I kind of want some. You know, you're like, hey, personal security. I think you can hide it as that pretty easily. You quickly find out, because you don't talk to, like, sellers. You're talking to fixers who provide things for sellers.
Right.
And you talk around. You talk to Hime, who's actually sold some of these before. And you talk to others. And I think eventually they all say the same thing Hime does. Is you talk to him, he's like, look, boss, we don't know, actually, where these robots come from. There definitely was tech robots. That's like the internal brand that we file off before we sell to someone is a generic brand. But we've not found one. In fact, I don't know that as you, like, do you want to bring him a little bit into your confidence or no? Of, like, we're trying to find WazTech?
Yeah, I might as well.
Yeah, I think you give him some bare information on, like, hey, look, there's something going on with these robots. Like, no one's actually seems to have bought them directly.
Mm-hmm.
And so you two do some talking around, and you come to a quick conclusion that, like, not only does no one bought these robots from WozTech ostensibly doesn't sell anything, and in fact, you don't think they have a building in Night City.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, no one's really sure where they exist. If you look them up, they have like a company page. They have like on the stacks, like the data stacks, they have information about them. They even have all the specs for their robots, which definitely don't have the kill switch part in the specs. But, you know, but you don't have a location for them. The address they give is like several different PO boxes in different cities for mail.
Think we found our shell company.
That's about it.
That's all I need. Thanks,
doesn't-
Hime.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, should I be worried about these robots, man?
Yeah, actually, if you got any of them like working for you personally, I'd scrap them or sell them off.
He thinks about it. Like, it's good to know. I mean, generally, I don't rely on robots as my movers and sellers anyways. They're too easy to break, but it's good to know. I'll keep it down low, though. And he
Smart
goes
man.
off on his way.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that means that that's not going to give you any bonuses to trying to find one of these factories, but you do have a bunch of locations that you can sort of ask around as to just like, hey, you notice anything about, like, weird truck movements?
Who needs resources when I have luck points? What am I rolling, boss?
Well, I have two thoughts. If you want to make this a two-roll bit, I don't know what Fox would roll for this, but you have maybe an idea of, I don't know, the timing of when these robots ought to be leaving these factories based on when people are selling and buying them. But it's going to require a certain amount of, like, I guess, mental calculations of, like, all right, people are buying them here, so when would those trucks be leaving the factories? And if you get good on that, you'll get some bonuses to actually, like, asking people about things they've noticed, because then you'll be able to say, hey, on these dates, did you notice things?
I mean,
that makes sense.
I would argue that, like, the logistics of, like, when supply arrives is a pretty basic fundamental of trade. You know, you want to optimize,
Exactly,
you know, your supply-demand curve. So, can I make that a trading roll, possibly, boss?
I would absolutely take it as a trading roll.
Here comes a trading roll coming out for you right now. A 19? I'm a sit on that. I'm a sit on that 19.
19's pretty good. I'm
Also
going to say, yeah,
contact.
that's good.
Sorry. Didn't
Sorry,
mean
what?
to interrupt, but Kit has a contact with the suppliers.
The guy I kind of
If you
shot in the
wanna
head.
talk if you want to talk to Gold Bar, he definitely does rare materials, and I think you do have to, like, talk to probably Lynx and Enzo just to be sure you know what materials are in these robots, but there's a few that would qualify.
Yeah, I think he would kind of like, he wouldn't lean too much on Gold Bar yet because he's still trying to like not push too hard on that relationship. But I think he would, if he's handling the materials and he could coordinate with Lynx and Enzo to find out what materials he would need to worry about the most, he would use that as kind of like his like bounding boxes. Because like if I'm trying to figure out when these things leave the factory, I would know based on my trade knowledge when people are getting them out to sell, and Gold Bar would know relatively when the resource truck should be sending them out, right? So I feel like he would try to like find like the middle ground point between there, like at a decent middle ground between then, based on what knowledge he might have of like, you know, time to build and produce and stuff like that. And again, he'd be willing to lean on like Manny or Lynx or even honestly even Oryx at this point. Again, he's been being a bit generous recently, but like kind of to get a good sense of like from when these trucks should arrive at the factories, how long would it take to get the robots built and sent out, and he would use that knowledge to kind of get a final answer on when these trucks would be shipped out. And then, as again, he's straining his brain here, but like his last step from there would be, if I get an answer of when the trucks would be getting shipped out, hitting up people related to Woz, like Hime and whoever, and saying like, all right, what's been going on these dates specifically?
I think that's good. How do you want to talk to Gold Bar? I think that's a little bit of a scene we can play out real quick.
All right, I'm gonna keep this pretty simple. I mean, Fox is in his, you know, he's keeping to his quarters a lot recently these days. Not really going out too much, you know, unless he has to for political endeavors, you know. Things are getting a bit messy. Want to play this safe, so he's chilling out. He's in his spot, having a nice stogie to himself in his room. Yeah. Cat, give me Gold Bar if you got a minute, actually.
Right away. And she starts dialing him up. You get the sense there's some messages between him or his agent and her really quick to make sure that it's going.
Naturally.
And it's like, oh, he's to be available now right away, if you'd like.
Perfect. Thank you. Tap him in for me.
And there's a bit of a ringtone
Love that woman.
that I've had sound effects for.
Hit it.
Yep. No, that's that little ringing in the
Oh,
background.
oh,
and then
I liked
eventually-
it. I liked it. I liked it. Hold up. Do that again. I'm gonna turn it up a little bit.
Oh,
Do that shit again. Yeah, I fuck with that.
Anyways, after one or two rings, voice comes up that definitely sounds pretty digital. I think you recognize it pretty quick. It's like, yeah, that's Gold Bar. Which to be clear, because I think when he showed up, it wasn't like obvious. This man has basically removed his entire body and placed his brain and then like an oxygenation system, and that's it. Like in the center of his chest where it's most armor plated, specifically so that he is less likely to die.
Makes sense.
It does mean he has to be like plugged in a certain number of times a day because his body's not generating the power to run his cyber anymore. But you know, he doesn't need to eat or sleep, so. But yeah, he answers like, I was wondering when you were going to call.
Yeah, apologies. Attended to some things. You know, you can understand that a man with my political ambitions is rather busy, but figured I'd make some time for new allegiances.
Well, I'm glad that we're having a much more gentle conversation than the last time. I think this is like a voice chat, and as much as he's definitely using a digital protection of his face instead of an actual camera, even the digital projection has like what looks like a temporary metal patch over like the right eye that you shot through.
Apologies. I'm well, to be honest, I'm a bit skittish these days. Trigger happy, if you will. Blame my upbringing.
You have Killer Sparks. As someone who hates you, I would be a bit skittish as well. He's not the most stable of people.
Glad somebody understands. Listen, I'll cut right to it. I understand you move rare materials, and, well, let's say that I'm, in the market for some, robotic help, personal security. I'm understanding that you probably ship, I'm gonna send over a brief list of resources that I'm hoping you ship some of these out. They're typical standard built in, some WASTEC operations. I don't need to know necessarily where they go, but just if you can give me a rough estimate of, say to be honest, the last time you sent a shipment out and how long it might take to get to these factories, just, you know, logistical purposes. I'm trying to map these things out.
Yeah, roll me, I don't know if it would be conversation or some kind of persuasion thing.
Definitely converse. If you let me roll persuasion, I'm willing to because it's a better skill for me, but if you want me to be rolling conversation here, I'll roll that.
Do you want this man to realize that you have ulterior motives or not? Ulterior motives or not?
No, I don't. So I'll roll persuasion if that's cool.
Yeah, persuasion then.
Alright, I'll take that. What we got? Solid 20.
20's pretty good. Yeah, so you're trying not to, like, give anything away, but you're not really hiding the fact that there's something else going on here. And so you can see, like, him give a bit of a, like, raised eyebrow look. Is like, sure. You're really not going to need just my numbers. I'm not the only one in the city who's moving that in. But I do keep tabs on it. It's better to know what your competition are doing than not.
Anything
Sure
you have might help.
understand. Like, so generally for this kind of materials, they're fairly rare. At least these are, I'm sure, the rare materials involved. Shipments come in fairly regularly. Usually if I were ordering it, it would take a week or two to get here. I'm assuming you're going to want to know when they've come in recently.
That usually helps.
Kind of gives you a look at, like, he definitely knows there's something else about this. He does not buy logistics at all, but you're very persuasive about it. So he's like, look, I can tell you that the shipments I haven't handled, or the ones that at least are of these materials in a group, I can send you some numbers on. He says something that sounds like binary code, almost like it's like clicks, and then his agent comes up. You assume that he's named his agent in binary or something, because he doesn't actually need to move his lips to make sounds. Like this is easy for him to say. And then yeah, this agent that looks more like a digital construct than most agents do, like he doesn't have a face. It's like, right away, sir. And you get sent to Kat, and then Kat shows to you a like just a whole logistics list of shipments of those kind of materials specifically and amounts. You can tell some of them are his internal lists, but a lot of them are that says like reported this amount, estimated that weight to various parts of the city.
I'll have to send to my accountant. You've been a wonderful help, sir. And I think it's best that you know that I keep those who help me handsomely paid.
You have a reputation for such. This is, I'm going to say, good faith that we'll be doing some business soon on actually buying some of these materials from them.
It's funny you say, but I've been looking into a bit of real estate. On a robot factory, actually. Once I get my hands on such, the paperwork's in order now, trust me, but once I finalize a few ruthless negotiations, I'll, definitely be hitting you up for some orders of specifically those materials, actually. I think you'll find the quantities to be more than compensatory for the business we've done so far.
I would appreciate the call. I wait the day.
We'll be in touch. Thank you, sir.
And, yeah, very polite, hang up.
Yeah. I'll just have Cat.
This
like,
is a man who's very businessy, you assume, so.
People will like that. Yeah, again, I'm tapping in with people like this recently. It's not a big deal for me. Yeah, Kat, send us over the links for me if you don't mind. Let her know that's all I got as far as info. But, my hunch is that if we're looking for shell corporations, Woz or WozTech is definitely our first inclination. As for how we can tie that into Stink Miner, well, I trust our creative brain.
Right away. What I'd like is, Lynx, you get this data, and I still want Fox to roll for trying to find the location of this specific factory, but I think that Lynx, as sort of the data-driven person, you could possibly roll to give him some resources in that conversation.
I
Sure.
would like that.
And to, like, cross-referencing these things, if that makes sense.
Alright, what would you like me to roll then? Because
Well-
I can give you a lot of tech stuff, and I can give you some crypto and accounting.
She's fucking smart.
I think crypto and accounting would probably be best. That's the ones I would say are most justifiable.
Okay. I think since these are shipments, right?
Yeah, these are basically a lot of material shipments in Night City are autonomous drone-like trucks, like the one from the very first mission. That they're like, they have guns on them and nobody drives them. They're just drop thing off place and shoot anyone who messes with them.
Out of character thing you should know, I built a truck. After that mission, I built what I thought a truck like that might look like in Space Engineers. I'll take some pictures out later today and send you some pictures of it. But I built a remote control truck in Space Engineers that literally just is that. Like, it's a cargo moving truck that, like, just is autonomous.
Nice. But I
It's
think
unfortunately the real-ass future of our world, so...
Yep.
yeah.
Anyways.
I feel like Lynx has had some, let's say, experience in audit work, and a lot
some
of that.
impromptu audit work, some unwanted audit work.
Yeah, exactly. Which has, let's say, not made her very popular. And one of the reasons why she's not working for corporates anymore, because she kind of finds a lot of fraud. But one of those things is, well, understanding how shipments work
Exactly.
and when they arrive and things. So I think she's gonna roll accounting for this actually.
Sounds perfect.
I counted up.
Roll that number.
22.
That's real good. I'm gonna say, yeah, you cross-reference the data that Fox has on, like, these are when the robots are being sold, and his best guess is the time frame of, like, when those robots were shipped out. And then you're like, all right, if that's the case, then the ones, assuming, like, a factory, like, production time that's pretty fast, similar to the one that you saw at Spider's place, you're like, all right. And so then you have a range of dates that then you cross-reference with these shipments going in. And then at the last one, because this roll is really good, so you have the dates for Fox to check, but then you also start cross-referencing them with, like, these are the locations of these sort of empty spaces where factories might have been. Or probably still are. So you also cross-reference with the shipments that go even remotely close to it. Like, I think you give it kind of a wide berth. It's entirely possible these trucks were, like, pretended to be shipped to a completely different location, but passed through one of these. You even include those in case they dropped it off and left, because... I mean, this is someone who's been very, very careful about this and hidden things really well. So you're like, let's give this a wide berth. But you do manage to cross-reference those, and so you basically have given Fox 2 resource points in the conversation of data points of, like, this is when they should be leaving from these locations, and this is when they should be arriving from these locations, and this is all the variance that it could be of, like, based on just location and factory time and all that good stuff.
All right, so now,
It's a lot of guesstimation on your part, but, you know, educated guess.
so now I'm rolling to find the actual location of the factory.
Yeah, so you're going around, and this is almost part of the same, like, you're meeting with booster gangers this week, you're meeting with the more sheltered part of the city, this week. Just while you're out and about, you also stop by maybe like some factory workers in some of the more factory-heavy areas, or people who just happen to live near one of these old cities, and you just try and make some of your public appearances about that, so you can have some side conversations. So yeah, whatever you want to say for subtly interrogating and or directly asking questions about stuff like this.
I'm gonna go with human perception. He would probably phase this off as like after his sort of public speeches at these places, he maybe goes and like has some chats with some workers to maybe like get their thoughts on things. He would kind of like ask them some broad questions, you know, like not even like fully mention WazTech unless he really needs to for like some cutting reactions, because like he's not really so much worrying about the actual answers, more so like the reactions to things to see if any of them kind of like pick up on like, oh, I recognize that, or like if any of them seem like, he mentions like, oh, you know, like I've been caring a lot about people, like, you know, a lot of workers in different sectors are being replaced by these autonomous factories, you know, workers like, you know, in infrastructure and even robotics, and like if anybody's like, yeah, you know, like I feel that, like he'd be like kind of like looking for like, you know, oh, and where do you work, man, you know, kind of like stuff like that, like what factory did you work at, like where that's like, is that next to one of these like empty spaces, like stuff like that. So I'm gonna justify this as like human perception. If that's cool.
You know what I'll do? You roll me some human perception for identifying those people, and if you roll well, you'll get further bonuses on a persuasion roll for them to give you the information.
You got it. Here comes.
You can use resources for either of those. I'm just gonna say the one that actually gets you information is the second one.
All right.
And then you have the third thing you can do is mentioning WazTech, but that's, I'm gonna say, not part of that second roll. That can almost be a third roll if you're like, I need a little more.
Nah, I'll try to play this off. All right. So the first one, I'm gonna go to human perception roll. I'm not gonna blow anything on this one. I don't think so, but I'll see after I roll if I roll poorly.
Yeah.
Here comes that. It's not a red one. That's a 20. I'm a rock on that. Rock on that one. We'll take it.
Yeah, because that's a 8. You're not likely to roll better.
Oh yeah, we're keeping that 8. So we're gonna.
Yeah, you identify several people throughout the week of talking to, of like, yeah, this is someone who notices things and definitely is involved in some amount of shipping or factory stuff in these areas with these empty spaces.
All right, and then my last roll is persuasion to kind of like get the final info. It's gonna like get me what I need.
Yeah.
All right, persuasion is my better skill. And I have 2 resource points to blow on this. So did I get any more for that last roll?
Yep. You get 2, but the check is a little lower because you're finding the right people.
I'm gonna blow.
We're gonna say it's 12.
I'm gonna go.
For every point above that,
I'm gonna blow both of those.
Yeah,
although, if it's 12, I technically literally can't roll below that unless I roll a 1.
Well, the 12 is the minimum. The more you get above it, the more I'm gonna give you.
I'm gonna literally blow both of my. Damn it, Tinker! I'm gonna blow both of my resource points on this to get a +2 on this roll, and I'm gonna roll persuasion. So here it comes right here. That's a 26 for you, boss.
The 26. Oh, okay.
Point to me on the map where the plot is. Shout out Sir Heck in the chat if you're there. Point to me on the map. Show me on the map where the plot is, DM.
Hey, so you meet in a lot of different places. Definitely South Night City as like ostensibly your area, but you kind of do the whole combat zone, especially because at least 7 of the 10 possible locations are in the overall combat zone, the several districts of that. And one thing you notice while you're there talking to more, you know, these booster gangers and stuff, as you talk to them, and you're sort of using these dates and these data, and you're asking very pointed questions.
Can we pause for like 6 seconds? I can let the dog out real quick. She's
Yeah,
annoying me. Give me 6 seconds. Sorry, be right back. I know. Go forth and prosper, small dog. I love you very much.
Anyways,
all right, I'm back.
South Night City.
I'm back in character.
South Night City, you find nothing from there. Like, there's not really any shipments lining up, especially not in a way that's like noticeable or suspicious. It's like any of the shipments you know of that happened there are very specifically like, yeah, that's the Golden Agers. They needed some stuff for some extra robotics parts, or like definitely that was the Jigsaws bought something instead of stealing it, which is rare but happens. Stuff like that. You don't find any similar in the ones in Old Japantown and Little China, but there's one of the 2 locations in the old combat zone, the one right on the water. Definitely, it's like this older guy who's like definitely was a dock worker at some point and still is kind of doing that. Maybe specializes in like moving stuff on and off of ships that in this dangerous part of the city that people don't want to have noticed. Like that's just kind of his job. Is like, yeah, I'm helping smuggle stuff into the city, basically, as a dock worker. You get in real buddy-buddy with this guy who eventually, or at least pretty quickly, especially as you start bringing out specific dates, he's like, I did notice some shipments leaving on the dates for like when you're giving for their leaving from here. That was interesting because generally something comes off the coast around me, I'm the one who does it. Someone's been muscling in, but it's kind of rare and I don't see people. It's one of these auto vehicle type things, and it definitely leaves the area and he doesn't notice it from them. He's like, yeah, and it like points to one of these factories, these empty spaces is like right there. So he said he notices people leaving from there. Also, while you're talking to more of the, I guess, the more sheltered people, you do end up having 1 or 2 appearances in the sort of Haywood area, especially near the industrial zone. No one really lives in the industrial zone anymore. It's a lot of abandoned factories, so it makes sense that there's at least one there. The thing is a lot of these abandoned factories are repurposed by now, whether officially or not. But as you're sort of in the Haywood zone, and it's a lot of people who are technically not in Night City, they don't live there officially, and they're sort of working their way to moving in officially, you make a lot of like impassioned speeches about, hey, the best way to make the city grow is not just making it easier for you guys to officially become part of the city, but by making this area an official part of the city. Like,
fucking workers of
Night
City, you have nothing to lose but your chains, god damn it.
This is 100% like an immigration issue at this point.
Fucking the revolution will not come through shipping robots into this city. It'll come through shipping people into this city. Shipping workers into this goddamn city. Hard-working people with a dedicated drive to make it better. God damn it.
Yeah,
you have nothing to lose but your chains. Fucking starts quoting Das Kapital and shit.
Yeah. I think you like even have this like at the really nice Thai food place that you like met with Daniel's father-in-law.
Fucking
stepdad.
Shoves face with dumpling. There is a specter haunting Night City.
But anyways, as you sort of talk to people here, it's actually like the owner of this restaurant. Her name is Pratt, or Prataba, but she goes by Pratt. Sure. Pratt notices that you're talking to people about like shipments and stuff, and she says, if you want to know about dates that we every once in a while, I mean, it's a lot of factory stuff just right on the other side of this wall, because like this restaurant is right up against the industrial zone. Like, generally when they come by, you can tell who it's for, but on those dates you talk about, I don't know, I've noticed that there's some unlabeled ones coming in to this area. Now she's not in the industrial zone, so she can't pinpoint it, but she's like, no, there's some very specific trucks that aren't advertising anything. And that's the weird part. And you know, and she knows, and she kind of explains, even though you don't need it. It's like, look, we're marketed the hell out here, especially when we don't live in a big building where they can shove ads in our face. Every single semi that walks by has some kind of ad for a company you recognize. There's a few that just, they look like ads, but they're not. They're just shapes. I don't know, it's like, you know when you have a brain dance and there's some detail that someone didn't notice?
It's just kind of fuzzy.
So it's just kind of filled in. Yeah, it's like that. It's like a computer has filled in where an ad should be in its basic shapes.
Yeah, Fox smuggled some brain dance porn into jail for a bit, so he has some experience with fuzzy brain dances. Not the highest quality shit, you know. They focus on the important stuff there.
Yeah, it's like, it's not even fuzzy as much as it's like a computer had to fill in the details that the brain didn't remember.
Yeah, so it's just like...
so it's like absurdist stuff.
Yeah.
It's like algorithm-made shit.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I think Fox kind of like is like parsing through all this, and like he's like listening to her like but like his brain's like just chugging overdrive, and then he like, bing, and he's just like, thank you, I appreciate your efforts. Vote for me if you want to make changes in the city. Appreciate that. Shakes the hand, kiss on the hand, just mwah, you'd be wonderful. Turns off. Immediate call to Lynx, just Hayward, the industrial zone. Wherever we're looking for, it's directly in there.
To be clear, she has the shipments just entering, has nothing on when they leave, and then the guy on the other side of the river knows when things are leaving that matches up,
So,
but not in.
so yeah, so he says Hayward. He says, wait a minute. Sorry, scratch that. Hayward's where they're coming out of, but the robots.
Hayward's where they're going into.
Yeah, where they're going.
Old combat is leaving.
It's like, wait a minute. No. It's right here in the old combat zone.
To be clear, on the
Any
map,
details?
old combat zone here.
Oh, I don't worry. I already moved the stream view so we could see where when you ping the old combat zone. Don't worry. I prepared for the cinematic ping. I got you. I was there.
Yeah, okay.
It's like Lynx is gonna be like, I trust you, but I'm gonna need more details.
I've been chatting up with some workers recently. One of them out here has noticed some trucks passing by, automatic semis, not driven. The ads on them they've been nonsensical brain dance shit, basically, just fucking algorithm jargon. More weirdly enough, they're specifically happening on dates that we can't get a direct target for as far as where these robots are coming from. It's a hunch, and you know I'm not the smartest bunch in the smartest stick in the bunch, but whatever we're looking for, it's in the old combat zone. I know it. Narrow your search there. I bet you'll find something. And if you don't, I'll buy you dinner, wherever you want. Nicest place in Night City.
It's like at this point, Lynx is like, okay, there were 3 possible locations in the old combat zone that she remembers.
He narrows it down to a specific one of those for you. And actually, yeah, because there's like 2 that are more on the part next to the Glen.
Mm-hmm.
There's only one of them, and he narrows it down to that one that's like right on the coast.
Mm-hmm.
Got it.
That's the one. That's our factory. So whatever you're tying in on your story, tie that factory in it. More importantly, though, if we could, let's say, do some aggressive real estate acquisition.
You want to own that one now? Maybe not right now, but
Listen, I'm saying we're about to cause enough of a stink already. Maybe we pull the trigger on that after we get the whistle blown on this whole conspiracy. But
I'll have the paperwork ready for you to buy it after we blow the whistle.
wonderful.
Well, related to that, FoXX, how about you roll me a luck roll, so however many luck points you have is plus that number?
I got remaining or total.
Remaining.
I got 5 remaining, so here's a 1d10, which will be a +5.
+5.
Huh. Oh,
Yeah.
tragic.
Yeah,
I should've used my GM dice.
Yeah, unfortunately, this is just a small thing. Yeah, you don't... The only robot factory you know for sure is still functional, or at least you assume is that one. Several of the other ones, especially the ones in South Night City, you definitely know people who are like, oh yeah, that stuff is busted up. People have stripped that for parts. Which I guess is good for Lynx in that you can just completely eliminate those. You now have people's accounts of like, oh yeah, those aren't functioning at all. But yeah, there's not any that you can identify as like will still function if you buy it, except maybe this one? Probably.
Well,
So one more thing. You said they're coming into the Haywood zone and leaving through the
old combat zone.
through the old combat zone.
Mm-hmm.
How are they? Is there some kind of underground tunnel that leads through it? And like links, like just.
Y'all can roll me some education real quick.
You can roll that.
For the history of the city.
My assumption is there's like auto boats like that like travel across from the Haywards because they're separated by a very small body of water. So I just assumed there was like a small, but like a kind of like mini port or dock here that kind of just like shepherd
Well, Lynx
ships
is
across.
remembering from specifically their trip to that to the facility. They had a very like deep we went down how many levels? 2 or 3?
I mean, there's only 2 levels in the facility, but the stairs, you think, probably went like 3 or 4 stories down pretty easy.
Yeah. So, like, it's entirely possible. So, I guess Lynx will roll an education. I crit on an education!
Oh my god,
Roll
you're
a
so fucking
education.
smart! You're so smart!
So,
I mean-
yeah, FoXX would have no idea about this just because, like, it's a small detail about the city as it was built. But, Lynx, you're much better at your city history. There is a, like, this used to be just a coast. These inlets here, and then above, were man-made. They were dug in and have had to be redug several times, especially after the Corpo War. They're not that deep and are mostly cement-lined. They are not a natural inlet. And because they've had to be rebuilt more than once and changed, it's extremely probable that someone has built tunnels underneath without anyone noticing, or reappropriated what used to be old irrigation tunnels, old tunnels between corporate locations, anything like that. This, much like, say, Chicago, is a city built upon itself multiple times. There's a lot of empty spaces underground. Most of them are flooded in, but...
Well then. That's interesting. So, I guess Lynx is gonna drop the paperwork for both of those parts, because that's very useful. You can have that.
Mm-hmm.
You can have materials come in from into one
Yeah.
area and then come out through the other.
Mm-hmm. I actually have some thoughts. In fact, belay that for a bit. Definitely get the paperwork on that materials factory, but don't necessarily have to draft it up for us. If it's not already owned by our friend Goldbar over there, see if we can't maybe draft it up to see if we can get that bought up for him. Just a proposal. He'll pay for it, but maybe we front up, I don't know, 30% of the cost? A gesture of good faith. Further, though, even if you don't necessarily want to focus on buying that factory we know is possibly making those robots, the ones nearby it are all busted up, right?
According to what you said. That
Be clear, the ones in South Night City you know for sure are busted up, and then you haven't heard anything about any of the other ones. Old Combat Zone, different districts.
Oh,
You don't
perfect.
know
That
about
actually
the
works
others.
even better. If the paperwork ends up being too messy or too costly for us to buy up that one right there, I don't know, maybe if some erstwhile netrunner were to find the schematics for a building exactly like that one, and then we say bought up the plots for those ruined factories in South Night City, maybe we hire our friend Goldbar for the materials and hire the workers from South Night City to build up some new factories here. Maybe some human operated ones so we can give some good jobs to. Good PR for my political campaign. Good show of good faith for the people of Night City. Secures allyship and a good contract for Goldbar. And gets us robots.
I think Mariah is in the room with you doing paperwork as you talk about this. And like, yeah, actually, that'd be really good if you could have some kind of, hey, I have a project plan too. Because right now, Stink Miner is killing us in the actual plans to build the city. You're doing pretty good with your motivational speeches, but like, he's got that railway, that goddamn railway that's just killing us in polls with people who like practical solutions.
Fox will
Lynx is also thinking like, we don't even have to do this for robots. We could have them churning out modular
Any kind of
pieces,
factory,
or because I think one of the issues that Auntie Noelle is having, right, is shipping construction pieces. We could be building modular parts for our own no corpo buildings here.
Let's go beyond that, as a matter of fact. Call up Auntie when you get a time. See if she wants, if she's thinking about it, to be the CEO and figurehead of a new construction and manufacturing corporation budding up in South Night City, which wants to offer employment to people who maybe either want to move into or move in or live around Neon Lights.
Real quick, street smarts from either of you?
I'm
Just real
on
quick.
it. Gotta reopen up my character sheet because I was looking at how pretty the map was. Sorry.
Hey,
Lynx is not.
it's a good map.
not
This
the
is
least
directly
good
from the
street
book.
smart.
You guys know.
Shout out Artel Sorian Games for fire ass maps. There we go. Hit me with the things.
It's 20.
He's pretty good.
You know.
Auntie Noelle definitely is running this, like, building, and that's kind of what she's specializing in, community building and all that. Elijah technically owns a construction company
Perfect.
that he's allied with that. He would probably be the better option to start running, like, construction pieces the way you're suggesting.
Yeah.
He has,
We can have a
construction
conference
experience.
with Auntie Noelle and Elijah, because like Auntie Noelle is the more personable one, the one who's like definitely like
Sure.
there for the community, right? She is the one that people know as like, I'm here to give people homes.
Offer to Elijah then. Let him be the face of the company making these construction parts for the factories or that own these factories, but we market it as a partnership between the Neon Lights establishment and Elijah's construction company. People who want to move in there get ease of access to employment there. You get a good job and a place to live. You can make a home for yourself.
No corpos.
No
corporate
corpos.
admins.
Just people. Just us.
All right. Lynx is, I think,
It's actually a damn good
really
slogan.
up for setting this up when
Just
when she's
people,
not.
just us. Yeah, ship that to Dion. That's a good. I like that.
Mariah's already made a note. It's like, oh, I was going to use that whether you said that or not. That was pretty good.
Ah.
You're good at the motivational speeches, kid.
Oh, I try when I can. But I wouldn't be able to make this happen without all of you, honestly. I'd be head over my ass when it comes to all this logistical stuff, or handling this paperwork, or hell, even just the general stuff of keeping people off my ass and not getting bullets in me. You all are invaluable to what comes next. And I thank you for the work you've done so far.
Alright, I guess Lynx will, in between munging numbers, is going to set up that call.
Appreciate that.
The paperwork that you can start without having to have that call of just, we're going to acquire these defunct locations. And we can get to a check about that later, but you can start pretty easy, no check required. And then, yeah, you can start setting up that call. It really could be a message sequence if you just want to explain the plan to them so that they can be yay or nay on it. But if you want to make it a scene, we can do it as a call.
Because Lynx is very much not good at any of this kind of, like, talky, like that. I think what she's gonna do is like, okay, Kit, if you want to talk with Elijah and Auntie, I think that would be a good idea. But I can just message this plan over them and get a yay or nay. Because Lynx is no social. Sorry, she's like I don't wanna talk to more people than I have to.
You got that?
Yep.
It's asking you. No, Lynx is asking you a question.
Oh, sorry.
Do
One
you
more
wanna
time.
have
Missed
that
it.
call or not?
Oh, do I want to have the call directly?
Yeah. Like, do you want to have the call, or can Lynx just message us and get a yay or nay? Because
Yeah, sorry, I'm distracted by a thing in the background. Apologies. Yeah, I'll take a yay or nay on that. Not a problem.
all right.
Yeah, you just message it to him, and honestly, it's a pretty good plan. Straight up, so like it's not going to require you to persuade them as much as just Elijah sends exactly one thumbs up emoji, and just like Auntie Noelle has a much longer response of like, that seems like it would be a very good thing for your political campaign, and it would honestly solve the problem of once the rooms start being built, we are going to need people to be able to pay rent. I can't give everyone a free place, so having that kind of money cycle could be pretty useful. And you know, if we can get the factory up and running, we can also sell to other locations and maybe throw our weight around a bit to promote other buildings like this. I think that that's a good idea. Plus, we can always offer some discount prices and construction and equipment for, you know, the ocean nomad people that we kind of owe a lot to, my old people.
Yeah, Fox.
Yeah, and we can always repurpose those factories for...
Yeah, whatever we need. Fox throws back as a message just like, Malcolm and Huey used to talk about when it came to building the black community, that we had to keep our dollars somewhere in ourselves sometimes, you know? Build up infrastructure and businesses that cycled our money back in our communities, you know? It's obviously not the same exact principle, because that was, well, 100 or so years ago from now, but I don't know. I was thinking about it.
Like, seems like a good idea. If you can get the factory set up, I think we can absolutely do it. Definitely talk about your political campaign, though. If you need a quote, let me know.
I'll keep it in mind.
Again, I think, is Mariah part of this?
Yeah. I'll even say like I'll have Mariah farm you for a quote. Farm me for a quote for PR.
Yeah, she very much is like, yes, that would be very good. We need some PR here.
Yeah, we'll even
Pretty
throw it in
please.
an interview. We even throw a small interview if we have to. You know, get a couple photographs, whatever we need to do. Big deal.
Yeah, her and Ben start like coordinating that to be a commercial by like pretty quick.
You got it. I got the best fucking team, man. I listen. Got a really big team.
It's a good idea.
They need some really big
It's a good
rings.
idea.
Anyway, all I'm saying is Fox has now gone from like basic political theory to like military tactics to like advanced infrastructure and now to like black history. I'm just saying the kid's not as dumb as we make him seem. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Honestly, if I were describing him, he's not dumb, he's impulsive. Those are very different things.
He's a reckless, is what he is.
Anyways, yeah, so that's kind of what you get done through most of the week, except for Sunday, which we will get to in a bit. But first, Lynx, you have a lot of different data points that I can try and summarize for you, but if you have a plan on how you're doing this, to try and find these shell companies.
Okay, so let me just write this down and also confirm what we know. So we have Waztec as a shell company. That's a great starting point.
I should be clear, it's a company that everyone, like, the only thing you know for sure, it's a company everyone is like, that's where the robots come from, but they don't seem to have a physical location. That's not necessarily the same thing as a shell company, just
True.
saying.
But they exist enough to have an internet presence, or sorry, a net presence. Yes.
Yes.
So that's a good starting point on the net side of things. We also have the actual the 2 factory locations, right?
Mhm.
So we have the 2 factory locations,
Mm-hmm.
which Lynx can also use to dig into maybe who owns them, which shipments are cross-referencing data on which shipments are passing by there, and with some accounting magic, you can also figure out maybe which companies have been buying from there.
Mhm.
Then what else do we have?
Sorry,
We
say
have
that point again. That last point about accounting.
so when it comes to shipments, right?
Mhm,
There
mhm.
is a
Yeah.
you have to note down where it comes from, right? Because how you account for the money, right, depends on
Yeah.
who there's an ownership thing, right? Like does it
Yeah.
is it owned when you ship it, or is it owned after it's shipped,
Mhm. Yeah,
right?
that's fair.
And that changes
Yeah.
around when the money gets spent and how that's accounted for.
Okay.
Right. So if she
Yeah.
can figure out okay, so depending on that, right? If I can figure out which trucks have shipped by there, right? And also their estimated weight, because pallets can be right? Then she can probably figure out okay, which ones were actually shipping extra materials over to that factory, maybe. And go from there, right? What, and then also figure out okay, so if it was owned, then she could potentially figure out who bought the supplies, right? Which company bought the supply.
Okay. Yep. And then, is there anything else that you're going to use for that, or is that the 2 main things you're looking at? Is basically shipment, ownership, and WazTech as a company.
I think so she's gonna look into that, and then
I think
also
the 3rd thing, if I'm remembering right, is you're just general companies that are benefiting from this market
Yes.
manipulation. Was okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think those are the good 3 things for you to look at then, unless there was one other thing.
I think she also wants to take a look at maybe companies where let's say accidents aren't happening when they should be.
All right, sure. All right, the way I see that happening then is that last one is actually one that you can just check really quick with a accounting thing.
Okay. So Lynx will
Just
check.
because you have all that data already.
Got it. We roll a 19.
19. Really the only one is super recently and is Petrochem.
Petrochem. Okay.
It's only the super recently. Basically every other time, you futz around with an algorithm of calculating, all right, when is this happening? You use the last 9 years as a thing, just to be if that's consistent, recently who hasn't been getting accidents when they should. And once you get the variables down as to the give or take based on whatever factors you don't know, it's the only one that's an anomaly, and it's only an anomaly by a week. That is it. It should have had one in the last week or earlier if your numbers are a little off, but it should have. It should have in the last few weeks.
Lynx has a thought.
Mhm.
The factory that they shut down, was that a week ago?
It's a little more than a week, you'd say. Really, you're looking at the curve of Petrochem right now, or Petrochem.
Yeah,
I'm not sure how to
because Lynx
that.
suspects that maybe their force
Because of it.
Yeah, because of the force shutdown, it might have prevented that accident.
Yeah, you don't think so. I think the 19 accounting is enough. It's more until, let's say, 4 weeks ago, Petrochem just wasn't far enough on that growth curve to necessitate an accident, and it's only in the last week that it definitely was and didn't.
Got it.
So you think it's just that it would have not made the cut until that moment, and then suddenly, for some reason, it's being let just the very beginning, but is being let loose.
Okay. And
But it's not you guys.
yeah, that's a little that's kind of suspicious for Lynx. I don't know if she wants to like I feel like she's gonna want to like take a look into petrochem and how it's relating to stink meter, and also like any kind of like is there any kind of like sort of like suspicious communication going in there, because she knows stink meter has definitely like a stake in it, right? It doesn't make any sense for petrochem to have lost its brains unless something different happened,
You
right?
see that fat fucking sack of lard? He probably has several stakes in this shit.
Also because
I mean,
it might make it easier for her to tie him in.
It's true. You definitely don't need to do research to know, like, he is promoting this rail that they're building. Like, that's just a big obvious thing that he is purposely like, yeah, no, I'm invested in this for the good of the community, and it's not a secret at all that he definitely has some share in that company, but he has share in a lot of companies. Basically, every person in charge of a district, one of these mayors, has some amount of stock in any company that is even remotely interested in being in that area.
Got it. Is it any kind of controlling share, or enough for him to just get a voice on?
He would just he'd maybe get a little bit of input. You assume, being a politician, he actually has more input through that than through his share. You'd think it's more just either a sign of good faith, like I'm invested in your future, or a way for him to make money if they do well. It's kind of a formality for most politicians at this point. You can roll like some kind of, I don't know, hacking or something to try and find some more secret records about that, but
Okay.
and we probably will just obstruct that with a security check roll, unless you want to. I don't know what your maximum plus would be on a actual net run, but if you had all your programs up, whatever the maximum plus to a roll you could possibly get on any check in a net run, we could also use that as an obscure, like, you did a net run and it went fine roll.
The max possible. Lynx is at interface.
With all your programs up and everything. Yeah, okay.
And with net running, I think at most she can get a +2 to different different checks. So that's +9.
All right, so you can either use that, or you can use your security tech to try and find some more secret records on that in particular. I would say that you can get bigger bonuses on that if you start doing some more general research on just shell companies and such around him before trying to find specific records.